Yes, ayan po. Good afternoon po sa inyong lahat at welcome po sa isa na naman pong episode dito po sa HR Cafe. Usapang trabaho, buhat iba pa. Naku, napakaganda po ng ating topic today. Namiss ko po kayong lahat dahil ilang linggo din po akong nawawala. Ayan. Good afternoon, Mentor Tina. Good afternoon, Mentor Alan. Kamusta naman ang inyong mga Sunday, lalo na ngayon na papalapit na ang Pasko?
Ay, napaka-exciting. I've been
Napaka-traffic
through,
na ba?
ay, hindi ako problema sa traffic. Meron man nag-drive para sa akin. Tsaka,
Ah,
most of my projects are online. Tinatanggap naman ng maraming clients ko ang hybrid. And lately, puro projects. Good afternoon sa lahat po ng mga nanonood and sa ibang timeline. Good morning and good evening. 2 Sundays akong absent, kaya na-miss ko rin ito. And today, we're going to have a very, very interesting topic. Kaya dyan lang ho kayo, huwag kayong mawala. Abangan natin kung ano yung mga unti-unting babalatan ng ating presenter, yung mga subtopics, mga important principles and concepts nitong topic na ito. Hello, Ma'am Mentor Tina.
good afternoon to everyone and welcome to the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay, at iba pa, your weekly learning habit. We're very glad to have you here. At sa mga taong nanonood, can you please leave your name, your company name, if willing kayo mag-disclose, and kayo sa Pilipinas, a shout out at the show. Back to you, Rona.
Yes, at kung first time niyo po dito sa HR Cafe, syempre hindi po mabubuo ang HR Cafe pag wala po ang ating mga program hosts. Unfortunately, Coach Darwin cannot be with us today, but HR Cafe has been built with the joint effort, of course, of Coach Darwin, who is a multi-awarded HR executive with more than 20 years of progressive leadership and management experience, having worked with top Fortune 500 multinational companies. He's also the founder and CEO of Philippines HR Group, the largest Facebook group for HR professionals. He's a certified life coach, public speaker, and motivational speaker and HR consultant. And to date, pagkakatanda ko tayo po ay nasa 315,000 members na po sa
Wow.
Philippines HR Group. Ayan, so
Grabe.
napakalaki talaga ng ating network na. Of course, we also have Mentor Alan Canieta, an HR, L&D, and OD practitioner with more than 20 years of corporate and freelance consulting experience. He's the president and managing director of Creative Moves Business Outsourcing and one of the board of directors of Philippines HR Group or PhilHRG Inc. At syempre po, hindi makukumpleto ang barkada pag wala po si Mentor Tina Coang, an operations and HR leader with broad local and overseas experiences. She's the general manager for retail company, an online content creator and blogger of tinainmanila.com, and one of LinkedIn's top 100 Filipinos to follow. And of course, yours truly, Rona Florentino, with more than 20 years of HR practitioner experience working in different local and international companies. I'm also the president and CEO of Uprush Social Geekers, a public speaker and an HR consultant, and also one of LinkedIn Top 100 Filipinos to follow. Ayan po. At kung nagtataka kayo, sino ba tong HR Cafe na to? Tuwing linggo po tayo po ay nandito para mag-provide sa inyo ng timely news and update, impart knowledge and experience that are value-adding and beneficial to our audience. We are here to discuss problems, issues, and challenges, and hopefully provide answers and resolutions on various HR topics. We are here also to provide free weekly training by our expert and seasoned guest resource speakers, discuss new technology, tools, and processes, as well as industry best practices. Ang aim po natin is to bridge understanding between employers and employees and provide inspiration and motivation para may energy kayo bukas, Monday. Ayan. At syempre pa, part po ng ating HR Cafe ang ating wow quote for the week. We always start our session ng isa pong wow quote for the week. And this time, ito po ay nagagaling kay Ambrose. Ang sabi po niya, "No one heals himself by wounding another." Naku po, napaka-timely po nito matapos po ang ating Katniel na mga issues at ang iba pang mga hiwalay ang nagaganap sa mga sandaling ito. Mentor Tina, ano mo sasabi mo sa ating wow quote for the week?
There's a saying to always leave graciously. Kasi when somebody hurts us, the immediate reaction is to always take revenge. We want the other person to hurt as much as we hurt, to feel what we feel. So we do a lot of very irrational things when we're hurt. We say a lot of hurtful words na hindi siya natural sa ating pagkatao. We do a lot of things like I've seen women slam the mirrors of their car, see women stalk and try to like hurt the other person kasi there is that need na kung ako nasasaktan, gusto ko siya rin masaktan. And we tend to forget that that irrational moment passes momentarily. Pagdating ng 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, hindi matatandaan ng tao kung gaano siya kaloko-loko. Ang matatandaan niya ay yung mga kalokohan na ginawa natin nung tayo ay nagre-revenge. So ang masakit pa diyan, sila na nga yung nagkamali, sila na nga yung nandaya, nanloko, nagsaktan, tapos tayo pa yung nagmumukhang masama at loka-loka. But that's life, right? What we do to others, even if others look upon, yung nag-o-observe lang yung tao, natatandaan nila yan. That's the reason why when yung mga drunken moments natin, mga stupid moments natin back 20, 30, 40 years ago, yun yung lagi pang natatandaan na mga kasamahan natin. They don't remember the time when we were sane, when we were doing the right things. They always remember the most insane things we do. Kahit na may anak ka na, may apo ka na, yun pa rin yung natatandaan ng tao. Kasi chismosa tayo. Pilipino ay napaka-chismosa at ang sarap ikwento ang mga things na hindi natural sa atin. So I think it's a warning to everyone that if you are hurting, that if you are feeling na parang masama yata yung ginawa sa atin, you have two reactions. Either react in a very negative manner, in a way that everyone remembers, or to take revenge secretly. But beyond that point, you can also try to heal yourself by being the better, bigger person. Because at the end of the day, hindi naman ikaw yung nawalan. Sila ang nawalan. So the best way to do it is to heal gracefully. And for those that are watching that actually has a reaction to the wow code of the week, please leave your name and also your reaction to the wow quote. We'd like to greet Anthony Ang, who is watching from Fairview, Blesilda Samonte Haranilla, who is saying good day, mentors. And then my GR is one of our early birds. And we will also shout out the one watching from Cabuyao, Laguna, and who greeted us good afternoon. How about you, Coach Alan?
Ganda no sinabi mo, ma'am. Parang may naalala ko isang quote dyan, yung an eye for an eye will leave everyone
Mm,
blind. Di ba?
mm,
Bulag kayong lahat yan. Anyway,
mm,
yung akin, it is actually more of workplace context, workplace leadership in particular. It's a reminder to all leaders that fostering a healthy and productive work environment involves a constructive action rather than destructive ones. For example, if you're trying to build a strong team and improve morale, you won't achieve that by tearing down your colleagues or subordinates, hurting them by criticizing them destructively. Because parang if you want to raise um, above the team, you need not um, break other people's heart rather, di ba? Kasi by trying to heal yourself, you're trying to heal yourself, pero you're trying also to hurt others. It doesn't work that way. Healing can be seen as mending relationships, resolving conflicts, and promoting a positive atmosphere. If you're constantly criticizing as a leader or undermining your colleagues, you're not contributing to a healthy workplace, no? Nakakadagdag ka lang eh, nagiging toxic yung environment and you're perpetuating a cycle of negativity that may hinder growth and collaboration. Parang ano no, yung blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours any brighter. Parang yun ang pinakamalapit sa analogy niya na instead of trying to undermine others, successful leaders recognize that helping others shine. Yan, kasi we're supposed to be helping our people shine, no? Helping others shine and succeed ultimately contributes to the overall success of the team. It highlights the idea that a leader's brilliance isn't diminished by the success of others. In fact, it can enhance the overall glow of the entire team. 'Di ba? Kaysa hipan mo ng hipan yung kandila, 'di ba? Nila, if you allow them to shine also by not blowing their candles, it helps in the brightness of the entire team, which is supposed to be the role of the leader. Yun yung tingin ko doon. And not tearing others down by building oneself and, criticizing others indiscriminately and parang destructively. Parang leaders are supposed to be healers of others rather than adding up to the toxicity of the environment by being a negative person in the group. Something like that. That's my take. Rona.
Ayan, naku, napakaganda po ng inyong mga sinabi. Ako from life in general na perspective, coming from the Katniel breakup, ayan, hindi and using that Katniel breakup actually, one of the things that I probably respected with how both parties carried out the said breakup. No one was saying anything bad about the other party. Para kasi yung ano parang yung galit. Tulad nga ng sabi ni Mentor Tina, di ba? Minsan kasi pag nagagalit tayo, pag nasasaktan tayo, ang gusto natin is yung kabilang party, regardless if it's a boyfriend, employer, colleague, o kung ano pa man, ang ginagawa natin pag galit tayo, gusto rin natin silang masaktan, gusto nating maramdaman din nila yung sakit na nararamdaman natin. But here's the thing, when you have a coal, yung uling na may baga, pag hinawakan mo siya, mas nasasaktan yung humawak kesa dun sa binato ng uling. Kasi yung binato ng uling, sa hambagsak lang yun, nabato ka, tinamaan ka, masakit, okay, pero hindi siya kasing sakit kesa doon sa humawak ng uling. That's what anger does to you. Yung anger, yung wanting to have revenge, yung sakit noon, dinodoble mo siya by holding on to it. Kesa sa nasasaktan yung kabilang party. Kasi yung kabilang party, wala siyang alam na matindi yung galit mo kung ano pa mo. Wala, sa'yo lang yun, ikaw lang nakakaramdam nun. Kasi yung kabilang party, posibleng nasaktan din siya, posibleng nalungkot, posibleng may regret, pero hindi siya ganun kagrabe. So, ikaw lang, sa'yo lang nagpe-ferment yung emotion ng galit at kung ano pa man. So, instead of wanting to wound another person, wanting them to also feel the pain, why not just let it go? Because yung mga bagay na yan, 5 years, 10 years from now, it will no longer matter. And even if, let's say, there might be a point in time where it will matter, darating din yung punto na sa mundo mo, hindi na siya ganun kasakit at wala na siya. Things happen. Sometimes people come to our lives, sometimes employers come to our lives, employees come to our lives, colleagues, friends, anyone, they come to our lives and then they leave. Because that's the role that they have to play. They're just there, parang kumbaga NPC lang sa mga mahihilig maglaro. Non-playing character na nakatayo lang sa isang tabi na dinaanan mo lang. And sometimes, main character talaga sila sa buhay mo who will mold you into someone better. But they
Or
have to
teach you a lesson, no?
or teach you a lesson.
Mm.
Kasi lahat naman yan aalis. Lahat yan
Mm.
aalis. Walang isang bagay. Kahit naman tayo, at some point aalis din tayo sa buhay ng ibang tao. Whether it's by choice or because pinapatawag na tayo ni Papa God, aalis at aalis tayo. So instead of, wanting other people to feel the pain, why not let it go and be happy on your own? Ito rin yung lagi nating sinasabi na yung contentment, yung sense of contentment, and yung sense of satisfaction, and yung sense of happiness, never put it in other person's hands. Kasi pag external palagi, yung nagpapasaya sa'yo, problema yan. Kasi pag nawala yun, how do you now motivate yourself? How do you now keep yourself engaged? How do you keep yourself happy? Ito naman sa employer side naman to, yung work side naman ito. Pag ang and both employers and employees have to understand this, na hindi po pwede na yung motivation palaging external. Kasi pag external na external palagi, you're always going to look for something na mas maganda, mas higher, better compensation,
Mm.
better benefits. You'll always be after that. But if the motivation is intrinsic, it is coming from within, doesn't matter. Mas nagkakaroon ka ngayon ng mas iba yung sense of contentment mo. Kasi hindi ka na naghahabol ng nasa labas eh. Ikaw mismo sa loob mo, dun mo nararamdaman yung sense of contentment. Ayan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ganda,
napakalalim ng
ganda.
ating wow quote for
Ganda
the
nun,
week.
ah.
Saan ba ito nahuhugot ni Darwin? Ito ating mga wow quote for the week. Pero bago po tayo mag-proceed, we would like to say hi to Janelle who's watching from Palau, Micronesia. Yan, ako, international na po tayo. And we also have Miss Joan Badango Holgado watching from Cabuyao, Laguna. Good afternoon din po to Megs Medina. Ayan. At syempre pa, meron pa po tayong iba from our comment section. Chai Chi says, good afternoon mentors watching from Cebu. So for the rest po, kung ito pong ating wow quote for the week also resonates with you, please put in our comment section kung ano ba sa tingin ninyo or ano masasabi nyo tungkol sa ating wow quote for the week. Ihugot na yan sa ating comment section. Ayan. At syempre, kung meron tayong wow quote for the week, meron din tayong HR question for the week. Nako, napakadalas na tanong nito. Parang nakakailang episode na tayo na palagi nating sinasagot itong tanong na to. Can an employee resign immediately because he or she does not have a physical employment contract? Mentor Alan, ano pang thoughts mo about this? Parang pang ilang beses na nating sinagot ang tanong na to. Naka-mute ka po. Okay, sige, sige. Si Mentor Tina po muna at mukhang may technical difficulties kay Mentor Alan. Mentor Tina?
I think a lot of people are very concerned in having a contract with the employer. And they feel na if the employer did not give them a physical contract, verbal contract lang malamang, they have the right to run to DOLE to complain against the employer. Kasi merong masama daw or illegal ang hindi pagbibigay ng kontrata or even ng payslip. Let's be very clear. Technically, an employment contract is not a requirement to prove employment. We have to follow the fourfold rule, hindi po ba? Kung kayo po ay na-hire at ng company na yun has the capacity to fire, if the employer controls your actions at pwede kang utos-utusan na gawan ng trabaho, if nagawan mo sila ng trabaho, tapos binayaran po kayo, with or without an employment contract, you are an employee of the company. And with or without the employment contract or even a code of conduct or company handbook, it doesn't mean na wala kayong rule sa company. Because it is still the labor code or the handbook for the Bureau of Working Conditions that prevail in the absence of a lack of an employment contract, company handbook, or code of conduct. A lot of people are complaining about this kasi sabi nila, parang unfair naman, hindi ba't hindi tama at illegal na hindi kami binigyan ng kontrata ng employer? Well, it's not good practice kasi sometimes a physical written contract parang cements what is agreed between the both of you. But it is not illegal. Right? I mean, Filipinos do it all the time. Nag-utang sa'yo ng pera, wala kayong kontrata. The fact na binigyan mo ng pera, wala ba kayong usapan? Meron pa rin. But of course, having a contract, especially if it's a large corporation, is best. Right? Para malinaw sa both parties. So I think employees should not take it against the company kung wala kayong kontrata. At hindi ibig sabihin wala kayong kontrata, pwede na kayong gumawa ng illegal. For example, wala namang kontrata na bawal magnakaw, right? Wala talaga. Like, if you think about it, right? There is no contract between you and the government of the Philippines that bawal talaga magnakaw. Even the Bible, wala ka naman na permahan na nagsabi na hindi ka pwedeng magnakaw, correct? So, does it mean na wala kang napirmahan? Pwede ka nang magnakaw? So kung bakit pag nagnanakaw ka, huhulihin ka pa rin ng pulis kahit na wala kayong na-sign na kontrata with the government, with the criminal code, with the barangay. Wala ka naman na-sign. Pero bakit ka pa rin makukulong? Because in the absence of any written contract, there is a higher code that prevails. Pagdating sa Pilipinas, 'di ba? You have to follow the rules of the Philippines because you are a citizen of the Philippines, you live in the Philippines, even if you're a foreigner and wala kang na-signan na kontrata, you still have to follow the rules of the Philippines. Same with the company, even if wala kang na-sign sa company, wala kang kontrata, company handbook, or anything, code of conduct na na-sign, the labor code still prevails, right? So if wala kayong contract, the company still has to give you service incentive leave. Kahit hindi pumayag si company, 'di ba? Pag kunyari yung company hindi nagbayad ng SSS, wala namang kontrata, 'di ba? But the company still has to pay for SSS, PhilHealth and Pag-ibig. The company still has to give you 13th month if rank and file ka. Kahit wala naman kayong kontrata, right? Because in the absence of any written agreement, what is mandated is still mandated. And what is required is still required. You know what I mean? So, labor code and the handbook of Bureau of Working Conditions prevails in the absence of any written agreement. So, even without a contract, you still need to render 30 days notice because that is what is indicated in the labor code. And for those na ayaw makinig and gusto gamitin yung lack of contract para matakasan yung 30-day notice, and mag-aawol ka kasi feeling mo tama ka, just remember, when you look for another employer, many employers nowadays will ask you how many days you've rendered in your previous employer. And when the answer is less than 30 days, ang iisipin ng tao, either na shorten ng company na yon or malamang nag-awol ka at hindi mo tinapos yung 30 days kasi XYZ ABC reason. And promise, I trust me, we will take it against you. Kasi kung hindi ka maayos nagpaalam sa isa, what is the guarantee na maayos ka magpapaalam sa pangalawa or sa pangatlo or sa pangapat? Kasi ikaw na yon. So in short, can they resign? Yes, they can resign. Anyone can resign. Everybody can resign. But not immediately. 30 days notice pa rin. Okay, so if you
Yun.
want to be professional, 30 days notice, with or without contract. Kasi in fairness, the company also has to give you many things that's mandated by law that's not on the employment contract, but they are obliged to do so. So it works both ways. Fair naman din ng company ang labor code natin, 'di ba? Kahit di nakasulat sa kontrata, walang SSS PhilHealth Pag-ibig nakasulat sa kontrata, walang service incentive leave nakasulat sa kontrata, kailangan pa ring ibigay kahit hindi na nakasulat. Actually, kahit nakasulat na waived kayo, kailangan pa rin ibigay kasi yun talaga yung nasa batas. How about you, Mentor Alan and Coach Rona?
Yun. So, tama si Ma'am Tina, no, si Mentor Tina. So, for all those who are listening right now and watching this episode, lalong-lalo na doon sa mga empleyado na nagbabalak umalis ngayong December at ganyan ang
Oo.
reasoning, naku,
Mm.
usong-uso pa naman, pagkakuha ng 13th month pay, bye-bye.
Mag-aawol
Hmm.
na.
Alam nyo, unethical yun at hindi magandang
Mm.
practice dahil malalaman at malalaman yun. Now, siyempre, generally, employees can do that. However, remember yung sinabi ni Mentor Tina, you have to render the 30-day notice. Now, kung talagang may sitwasyon na kailangan mo nang umalis, dahil hinihiling na nung kabilang employer mo, or for some reason talagang aalis ka na dahil may mga ipiprepare ka pa mga papers, it is advisable na makipag-usap ka naman sa employer mo. Kasi
Mm.
there should be a parang amicable agreement between both of you, na your current employer and you, na you were able to communicate and reach out to them
Mm.
and come up with an agreement that the employer agrees to waive the notice period. para yung sinabing senaryo kanina ni Mentor Tina na in-interview ka ng lilipatan mo, how many days did you render before you left the company? Pwede mo sabihin, ma'am, less than 30 kasi meron kaming agreement ng aking employer and ni-waive naman nila. They allowed me. O di, libre ka. I mean,
Mm.
malinis ang konsensya mo at hindi ka ahabuli nun. Kasi if I am your next employer, nalaman ko na ganun ginawa mo, oo, gagawin mo rin sa akin yan. See? Kaya mga kabataan, mag-isip-isip at huwag kayong padalos-dalos, huwag kayong pabugso-bugso pagdating sa bagay na ito. How about you, Ma'am Rona?
Naku, tama, 100% agree ako sa sinabi niyong dalawa ni Mentor Tina. Dun sa mga empleyado po natin, lalong-lalo na po sa mga fresh graduates, mga Gen Zs po natin. Ayan, kung kayo po ay magre-resign, regardless if may contract or wala, render the 30 days. Kasi po, hindi po basehan yung kontrata kung meron bang employee-employer relationship. Si Sir Edison Andamos actually commented yung nakalagay dun sa ating comment section. Napakaganda nung sinabi niya. The law does not require an employment contract to consider a person employed. Instead, ang ginagamit po natin is yung tinatawag nating fourfold test. Supreme Court jurisprudence po ang nag-set ng fourfold test para malaman natin kung meron bang employee-employer relationship. Yung fourfold test na yon, 4 ang tinitignan niya. Selection and engagement, payment of wages, power of dismissal, and the employer's power to control how the work, when the work, where the work is being done. Yung panghuli po, yun po yung tinatawag na control test. At pag yung panghuli ang present, yung pa lang, okay na, meron ng employee-employer relationship. So, hindi dahil sa wala kayong kontrata, pwede nyo sabihin na, hindi man ako empleyado, pwede ako mag-render ng immediate resignation. Hindi po yun ganon. Marami ng ilang beses na may mga members tayo ng mga pilosopo na nakikipag-away na, bakit para magkakaroon ng kontrata kung yun lamang pala ang natin, ang standards natin. Yung kontrata po ang ginagawa lang niya actually is set yung terms and conditions ng employment. Probationary period ba, magkano sweldo mo, kailan ang start mo, etc. etc. Yun lang ang sineset niya. So, outside, kung wala kayong kontrata or outside of the contract, yung fourfold test pong ginagamit talaga ng ating mga korte, ng labor courts, ng Supreme Court, ng Court of Appeals para i-determine kung yung isang empleyado ba or isang tao ba ay empleyado ng isang kumpanya. At as soon as ma-establish na kayo po ay empleyado, covered po kayo ng labor code. Regardless ng posisyon ninyo, covered po kayo ng labor code. So, hindi po pwede na kayo mismo pala desisyon, magdedesisyon kayo on your own na, mag-i-immediate resignation ako kasi wala lang, hindi nila ako binigyan ng kontrata or hindi ko gusto yung trabahong pinapagawa sa akin, etc. etc. Hindi po yun ganun. Kailangan nyo mag-render ng 30 days. Yung 30 days po ay hindi po yung para sa kapakanan ng empleyado ha. Yung 30 days po is for the protection of the employer. Tandaan po
Mm.
natin na although ang labor code ay nakakiling po siya sa mga empleyado, ito pong batas na 'to ay ini-ensure din niya na merong equitability. Hindi
Mm.
equality ha, equitability. So ibig
Mm.
sabihin naiintindihan ng batas yung power na meron ng employers, pero
Mm.
naiintindihan din ng batas na pupuwedeng, ma-weaponize din yung labor code against employers. So binibigyan din niya ng weight kung ano ba yung makakabuti rin sa mga employers. Kaya yung 30 days po yan is for the protection of the employer. Si employer lang ang pwedeng mag-waive ng 30 days. Siya lang ang pwedeng magsabi na, immediate na, wag ka nang pumasok bukas. Pwede po niyang sabihin yon, tumakbo man kayo sa DOLE at sabihin niyo illegal dismissal. Ang sasabihin lang sa inyo ni DOLE ay hindi po pwede nag-file ka na ng resignation eh. Yung pong pagpa-file ninyo ng resignation, yung act ng pagbibigay ninyo is already a sign that you no longer want to be connected with the company. So kung ano man yung kunwari, may mga benefits kayo na inaasahan dahil mare-regular kayo next month, pwede na hindi nyo na ma-enjoy yun kasi yung mere act of providing yung resignation po, sign na yun na ayaw nyo nang magtagal doon sa company. And unfair kay company kung pipilitin siya na magbigay pa ng kung ano man yung dapat ibigay para sa someone who would stay with the company. So, isa question po natin, pwede kayong mag-resign immediately? Pwede niyong gawin. Is it okay? Hindi po yun okay. Hindi po yun aligned sa ating batas. Pwede po kayong sabihan ng employer niyo na hindi, render the 30 days. Or, pwede si employer mag-claim ng damages na na-suffer nila, mag-claim against sa inyo dun sa mga damages na na-suffer nila dahil hindi kayo nag-render ng 30 days. So for example, dahil sa bigla kayong umalis at yung mga empleyadong naiwan ay napilitang mag-overtime para lang mai-handle yung mga naiwan mong trabaho, pwedeng i-charge ni employer yun sa inyo at sabihin na, oh, ikaw may kasalanan nito, i-charge ko sa'yo do sa final pay mo. Kasi damages sa kanila yun dahil hindi ka nag-render ng 30 days. Kahit pang sinabi naman sa batas, mag-render ng 30 days. So iingatan po natin yan ha, lalo po sa mga fresh graduates. Hindi po, ang pagre-resign po ay hindi isang bagay na lightly lang ang pagtitik dyan. Iisipin yung maigi, tama bang reason ko for resignation, dapat na ba ako talagang umalis, or baka naman passing emotion lang itong nararamdaman ko. Meron po tayo sa batas na inaalaw ang immediate resignation. Pero, ang ating pong batas ang sinasabi niya, i-allow lang po ito pag for example, inhumane working conditions, serious na offense or yung meron na pong threat ng harm against the employee or his or her representative. Yan po yung mga usual na reasons. Pero yung tipo na napapagod na ako, masyadong malayo, mababa sweldo, hindi po yun enough na reason para kayo po ay mag-immediate resignation. 30 days po, render ng 30 days. Kung yung lilipatan nyo po ay isa rin namang company na maayos, maiintindihan nila kung bakit nyo kailangan mag-render ng 30 days. Usapan lang po yan. Daanin lang po natin sa maayos na usapan. Okay? Ayan.
Mag-resign kasi gagawin daw silang host sa Christmas party, pagsasayawin. Ano, mga kabataan ngayon, bababaw na minsan, no? Wag po
Alam
tayo
nyo, pag ano,
sensitive
correct.
masyado.
Pag pinagsayaw po kayo sa Christmas party, go sayaw kasi may cash prize yan. Sayang ang cash prize.
Oo.
May ano pa, may contest pa yan, 'di ba? Manalo pa kayo ng ano, ng TV. Siyempre kailangan may effort din, hindi po pwedeng walang effort. So, dati
Oo.
noon sa dati kong work, pag sinabing may dance number, song number, go lang tayo. Kasi minsan, lalo na pag maliit na mga companies, o kaya yung mga ano, family-owned na mga companies, yung mga pamilya, yung mga board of directors, dahil magkakamag-anak sila, nagiging competition sa kanila. Magbibigay, pataasan sila ng prices na bibigay.
Oo, oo, totoo.
Biglaan. Tapos out of their own pocket. Kaya masaya din minsan yung mga ganyan.
Yeah,
Okay
anyway.
po. Ayan. Okay. At syempre pa, hindi matatapos ang isang HR Cafe pag wala pong update mula po sa ating mga government agencies. Mentor Tina, ano pong latest kay Dole?
Ayan na naman tayo. Sa dami ng holidays sa Pilipinas, naguguluhan pa ang tao kung magkano ang dapat ibayad. Okay, ganito lang, napakasimple for me. Okay? For me, there are two types of holiday. There's the black holiday, which is the special non-working day. And there is the red holidays, which is the regular holiday. So yung mga traditional na kalendaryo na binibigay ng for free sa mga company, nakalagay po minsan na pula ang mga dates ng regular holiday. Pag nangyari yun, ang difference is, for example, December 25 and December 30 are red holidays, also known as regular holidays. Kasama na rin po ang June 12, for example, yung mga holidays na buong Pilipinas, sobrang recognized talaga. Pag ganun at pumasok po kayo, that's 200% ang bayad sa staff na yon. At pag hindi po kayo pumasok, pero pumasok kayo the day before, that's 100%. However, pagdating sa December, mga non-working day, which is the black holidays, ang policy talaga is no work, no pay. Pag hindi, kahit na pumasok kayo the day before ng December 7 or December 6, for example, tapos on December 8, hindi kayo pumasok, wala kayong bayad. Kasi nga black holiday siya. No work, no pay siya. Right? Pero pag pumasok po kayo, meron kayong karagdagan na 30% holiday premium from your basic wage. Right? And that requires you pumapasok ka the day before. The working day before that holiday. Gets? Ulitin natin ha. In short, there's two types of holidays. There's a black holiday, there's a red holidays. With black holidays, which is December 8th, it's no work, no pay. Pero pag pumasok, may dagdag na 30%. Okay? So long as pumasok ka the day before. Sa regular holiday naman, it's the red holiday. So that's 200% pag pumasok ka, 100% pag hindi ka pumasok with the condition na dapat pumasok ka the day before the holiday. November 30 is an ordinary working day. Okay? Kasi na-move nga ng November 27. So kung pumasok kaya ng November 30, pareho pa rin yung bayad. Walang holiday premium. Okay? So, ang mga tao naman nagtanong, paano naman kunwari half day yung tao the day before the holiday? Or half day silang pumasok the day after the holiday? Babayaran ko ba ang holiday pay? The answer is, pag pumasok po sila the day before, kahit 2 oras, 3 oras, 4 na oras lang yan, babayaran nyo po rin yung holiday pay nila. Kasi nga pumasok, di ba? Hindi pwedeng kalahati yung holiday pay. Pag pumasok, babayaran. Kaya kung kayo, mga company, huwag kayo masyadong excited na mag-allow ng undertime or half day the day before. Tapos later on, magtatampo kayo na magbabayad kayo ng 100% ng holiday. Di ba parang that's not cool? If ayaw nyo If ayaw nyo yung tao, kung magrereklamo lang kayo sa bayad ng holiday pay, pwede naman ninyong i-deny or i-disapprove yung request for undertime or half day the day before or the day after. May karapatan po ang company na mag-decline ng request for leave. Okay?
Correct.
Lalong-lalo na pag yung tao hindi sumunod ng leave approval process. 'Di ba? May mga tao
Correct.
kasi, oh, boss, half day ako mamaya ha. Pwede mo talagang sabihin, hindi pwede. Pag nag-half day ka mamaya, pagbalik mo, may notice to explain ka na for insubordination and for unauthorized undertime. Kasi ang hirap din naman na may resentment between the employee and employer. Si employee naghahanap ng butas on the day itself, last minute emergency para mapayagang mag half day. Tapos, yung employer sa sobrang galit, hindi magbabayad ng holiday premium. And then lalo na later on, pagbalik ng employee, siya na nga may mali, siya pang galit. Best way talaga, kung ayaw ninyo mag half day yung mga tao, make a memo, not just for that person, but for everyone else na i-issue mo siguro a few weeks before on what type of leaves you will approve, lalong-lalo na pagdating ng peak season. If
Agree.
alam ninyo yung tao ay may tendency hindi papasok kasi may long holiday, and you need these people on the long holiday, best to remind everyone with a company-wide memo on your holiday policies and your approval of leaves para walang samaan ng loob. And if may tao pa rin nag-insist at hindi pumasok, kahit na pinapasok ninyo, follow due process and issue that person a notice to explain. Offenses like this are terminable if repeated. Kung ang tao ay hindi marunong sumunod sa isang company policy, have courage to terminate that person following due process. Okay? So I hope it clears it up. Next po.
Ayan. Okay. Naku, pag kayo po ay nalito pa dyan, naku naman po, ilang beses na po natin itong inuulit-ulit ha. Babasahing maigi ang ating po mga labor advisories, department orders, at higit sa lahat, pag meron po mga proclamation, presidential proclamation, basahin pong maigi from top to bottom. Wag lang po yung parte na nakalagay na walang pasok. Ayan. At syempre po, ang SSS din ay meron din naman po silang update. SSS Balayan Service Office will cease operations by January 2024. So kung ang servicing branch nyo po ay ang SSS Balayan Service Office, ang po pwede nyo na pong puntahan ay ang SSS Lemery Branch Office at yung SSS na Sugbo Service Office. Diyan na po kayo po pwedeng pumunta starting January 2024. Open po yung dalawang branches na yan for over-the-counter transactions from Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. January 2024 po yan magti-take effect. Okay? At pinapaalalahanan din po ng SSS ang atin po mga members. Pwede po kayong mag-join ng kanilang mga webinar, lalong-lalo na kung gusto nyo pong mas matuto pa ng kung ano nga ba ang mga benefits at privileges na ino-offer ng SSS. So, ang episode 11 po ng SSS, yan po ay sa December 15, 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Scan nyo lang po yung nakikita nyong QR code sa screen nyo right now para kayo po ay makasali. Ang i-discuss po during episode 11 would be the revised guidelines on the funeral benefit program. Tinaas na po ito. Resumption of the prescriptive period for the filing of sickness benefit. Balik na po tayo sa 5-5. Ibig sabihin, 5 days from employee to employer, 5 days from employer to SSS, at wala pong need ng notification pag hospital confinement or nangyari pong injury or sickness sa loob ng premises po ng kumpanya. So, i-discuss din po yan doon. Revised guidelines din po ng ACO program. Pag kayo po ay residente ng Pilipinas, hindi na po kayo kailangan pa na participate sa ACOP. Pero pag wala po kayo sa Pilipinas, yan po, required po kayo na mag-participate sa ACOP. At of course, with all of the changes that has happened to the website of SSS, i-discuss din po yung time-based one-time password po. So, mas secure na po si SSS ngayon. Sa mga litong-lito pa, bakit wala po ko nare-receive na one-time PIN? Yaan po ay hindi nyo po marireceive sa text. Dapat po kayo po ay merong authenticator na ida-download na app. Yung app po yun ang mag-generate ng one-time PIN po. So, i-discuss din po yan sa episode 11. Pag kayo po ay litong-lito pa rin do sa bago pong website ni SSS, join po kayo do sa kanila pong webinar dahil mas pinaganda na po yung website nila ngayon. Nakita ko na yung website na yon, I think, mas na-appreciate ko yung itsura niya ngayon kesa dati. And I feel na mas secure siya. So, kung kayo po ay gusto nyong malaman ko yung mga changes na yon, attend na po kayo episode 11, December 15, 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon via MS Teams po yan. Okay? Hindi nyo kailangan mag-download ng MS Teams. Pwede po kayong mag-join via web po pag sa MS Teams. Okay? At syempre pa si Pag-ibig, proud na proud dahil sila po ay nanalo ng 3 Gold Stevie Awards in Rome and in New York. Ayan po, nanalo po ang Pag-ibig sa Most Innovative Facebook page. Nanalo din po ang kanilang Chief Executive Officer as the Female Executive of the Year. At ang lingkod Pag-ibig Fund naman po, Coffee Table Book, ay nanalo po as Company History Publication. Yan po, dun po sa category na yon. So nanalo po ang Pag-ibig dyan. So proud na proud po tayo sa Pag-ibig dahil kahit na sila ay napakatahimik lang, napaka-maayos naman ang kanilang service at award-winning pa sila. At kung kayo naman po ay nag-iisip na mag-take advantage ng housing loan para maganda ang salubong natin sa 2024, may mga tips po ang Pag-ibig para sa inyo. So kung kayo po ay kukuha ng house subdivision through Pag-ibig, tandaan po na palagi nating babayaran ng ating monthly amortization. Monitor nyo po yan using the online or yung virtual Pag-ibig website para sure po tayo na wala kayong mamimiss kasi wala po silang sinesend na monthly bills para so may possibility na lumobo yung utang nyo po. So i-monitor nyo siya, make sure na posted yung mga payments para ano't ano man ang mangyari, hindi kayo magkakaproblema. Sa binabayaran na monthly amortization, maliit lang ang napupunta niyan sa principal. So make sure po na mag-top up kayo. So mas malaki po yung pwede nyong bayaran para at least kahit papano hindi siya madaling na uubos yung principal at mas malaki yung na babayaran nyo kagad. Hindi hahaba ng sobra yung terms na kailangan yung bayaran. Be careful sa pagpili po ng terms ninyo pagdating sa housing loan kasi mas mahaba, although mas maliit yung binabayaran ninyo, mas malaki yung interest actually dyan. Okay? So kayo po ay, meron po tayo ditong sample ng computation. So kung gusto nyo po na mag-take advantage ng Pag-ibig Housing Loan, dalawa po yung titignan ninyo, yung amount na ilo-loan ninyo at yung length po nung repayment. Yung dalawa pong yan, pwede nyo laruin yan para ma-make sure nyo po na hindi kayo mahihirapan at the same time, hindi rin masyadong matagal. Kasi minsan, pag masyadong matagal yung repayment period, nagkakaroon ng time na magkakaroon ka ng financial difficulties, so baka lumaki pa yung chances na mailit yung bahay. So mas maganda na mabayaran siya kagad para hindi rin lumalaki yung interest na binabayaran ninyo. Okay? As much as possible, huwag kayong mag-a-advance payment ng monthly amortization sa bayad centers. Ang pinakamaganda po, pag principal ang gusto nyong paliitin, diretso po kayo sa pag-ibig office. Huwag po sa mga bayad centers. Kasi yung pag sa bayad centers, pag na-reflect po yan kay pag-ibig, hindi po yan i-reflect ni pag-ibig doon sa principal agad. Uunahin po niya yung mga interest or mga penalties bago po yung principal. At the same time, may possibility na mag-float yung amount lalo na kung hindi siya aligned dun sa kung ano ba or hindi siya kaparehas nung kung ano ba yung talagang dapat mong bayaran na monthly amortization. So, ang pinakamagandang gawin po dyan, pag gusto ninyo na mag-advance payment sa principal, diretso po kayo sa pag-ibig office para tama po yung tagging ng mga payment na ginagawa nyo po. Okay? Ayan. At syempre, kung okay si Pag-ibig at okay si SSS, meron din tayong update from PhilHealth. Mentor Alan, ano pong latest kay PhilHealth?
Ang PhilHealth po, in recognition of the World AIDS Day noong December 1, 2023, ay nagsasabi po na meron po silang mga treatment at benefits para sa mga members who are suffering from HIV/AIDS, no? At meron silang statistics na shinare. Tumaas ng 327% ang bagong impeksyon ng human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. At 401% ang itinaas ng pagkamatay sanhi ng acquired immunodeficiency syndrome mula 2010 hanggang 2021. Bata yan sa Global AIDS Monitoring Report noong 2022. Kaya ang tulong ng PhilHealth locally ay binigyan niya ng magandang um, benefits yung mga sakali lang, no, na mga members na they suspect that they were contracted or infected or meron na talaga. So, bagamat walang gamot sa HIV/AIDS, kaya itong i-manage para ipanatili ang kalusugan ng pasyente. Alamin at gamitin ang benepisyong PhilHealth para sa HIV at AIDS. Ang mga outpatients ay kuha ng mga 30,000 din to, no? 30,000 pesos para sa treatment niya or OHAT kung tawagin. And that's 7,500 per quarter. So magto-total ho yan ng 30,000. Mga serbisyong hatid ng OHAT package, konsultasyon, pwedeng face-to-face, home visit, or telemedicine. Maagap na screening para sa tuberculosis, pagsubaybay sa toxicity o posibilidad na makalason ng antiretroviral drugs sa pamamagitan ng lipid profile, complete blood count, serum creatinine at fasting blood sugar depende sa treatment regimen ng pasyente. Pag-monitor ng repose ng pasyente sa gamutan gamit ang viral load testing at iba pang serbisyo para sa pagpapabuti ng kalagayan ng pasyente. Para sa gustong ma-avail itong treatment na ito sa tulong ng PhilHealth, tingnan ang kumpletong listahan ng Department of Health designated HIV treatment hubs. Ito yung www.philhealth.gov.ph/partners/providers/institutional/map. Para po sa iba pang impormasyon, tawagan po ninyo ang channel 0917-898-7442 at yung mga iba't ibang social media platform ng PhilHealth at ang kanilang website. So, yan lang po sa galing sa PhilHealth. Salamat. Back to you, Ma'am Rona.
Ayan. Ayan, Mentor Tina, naku, and dito na po tayo sa exciting part ng ating episode for today. Sino nga ba ang ating special guest for this afternoon?
Nako, she's one of my more favorite persons. Si Miss Cielo Marte Presas or Ate Teloy is an HR leader who offers mentoring and coaching to young, and the young at heart. She is a graduate of BS Psychology at the University of Santo Tomas, finishing her Master of Education in Counseling and Guidance at MSEUF, with completed academic units for PhD in Clinical Psychology in UST. Grabe, di ba? She is a senior HR executive with over 25 years of broad-based people experience, providing excellence in human resources leadership. She's worked as a country HR manager and country HR director at multinational companies in the Philippines and the APAC region. She was previously employed at MSEUF, which is San Miguel Corporate HR assigned to GSMI Lucena City, Sykes Asia, America President Lines slash NOL Group of Singapore, K-Force USA, Starcom Media Vest Group of Publicis Media, NTT Telecoms of Japan. Grabe, di ba? Parang buong ano na. But she is currently now a senior managing partner at CL HR Services, a startup company based in Quezon Province, engaging in HR process or outsourcing. She is also a senior search partner at Margarita Lotti Inc., a company based in Alabang, which is engaged in C-level recruiting services. She is a senior solutions and ideation partner at Formidea Philippines, and which provides HR consulting, training, and executive coaching. She's been engaged by government, private companies, and individuals in the country for the same services. She has a lot of very, very strong social network at LinkedIn and is selected as one of the top 100 professionals for learning and motivation on LinkedIn in the years. Watch for it. 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. She's similarly recognized as one of the 100 most influential women on LinkedIn in 2021 and 2022. She uses the hashtag Cielo speaks to identify her writings on social media, focusing on mental health, career, and development. She's one of the organizers of Connected Women PH in Lucena City and is a certified happiness life coach and truly loves to spread joy to everyone. Let us welcome Miss Cielo M. Marte, who is our speaker for today. Ma'am Cielo.
Hello. Good afternoon. Am I loud? Okay na?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I'm enjoying your exchange, and
Hmm.
it's really nice to be in the company of young people like you. I really feel so old.
Hmm. I love you
Nararamdaman
already. Kaya nga certified life, happiness coach ka eh. I love that.
Nakaloko na naman ako, Yang. Hindi na po ako Yang.
Young at heart daw. Di pa
Young
tapos
at heart,
Yang
young
eh.
at
at
yeah,
heart.
heart.
young at
Okay,
heart
Di pa
okay.
yun.
tayo tapos eh. Oh, di pa tapos.
Okay. Yes.
Ma'am
Ayan.
Thank you for
Cielo,
inviting me.
we'll leave you sa mga taong nanonood. Kung may mga tanong kayo sa presentation ni Ma'am Cielo, please leave your comments dyan sa comment section. And then
Mhm.
later on, after ng presentation ni Ma'am Cielo about anger, we will
Okay.
actually open the floor sa UNA, Q&A.
Okay.
All right, Ma'am Cielo,
Alright.
ha?
Ma'am
Okay.
Shelo, floor
Sige
is
po,
yours
Ma'am
po.
Shelo.
Okay. Okay. So again, thank you for the invitation. And I'll be talking in Filipino and English because this is about the Filipino type of anger. Siguro gusto niya tanungin bakit kaya ito yung gusto ni ma'am na, na topic. It just so happened that, per my experience, nung tinanong ako ni Tina, Michelle, to ka naman. Sabi ko, sige, anong topic? It just so happened that I went through an episode myself na nagalit ako. Sa sobrang galit ko, feeling ko, um, at my age, I'm 57, sabi ko, how do I handle my anger? So, I went through the process of understanding myself. I went into the process of, do I say it? Or wag ko na lang sabihin? And then hanggang dumating dun sa point that I had to do a lot of thinking. And I told myself, sige, sulat ko na nga to para at least the process that I went through, I can share with you as well. So, this is what I proposed. The title is Understanding Anger and Reframing Your Thinking. It goes hand in hand kasi although anger is an emotion, a lot of it is processed here. Lahat ng bagay naman eh. It's processed here. So, this is what we will be talking about today. I'll try to run it very fast para you will have time for questions. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. Next slide na tayo, ma'am. Ayan. Our agenda, of course, we do the introduction, then we do an introduction and understanding of what anger is all about. And then we go to the benefits and cost. Ano yung benefits ng anger? Meron pala. And then cost, what is the price? What is the price of anger? And then we go into types of anger, and then eventually we do our takeaway. So, next one, next page, please. Next slide. Okay. Now, siguro, I'd like to start it with saying that this is not really about something technical about management. Hindi naman to ganon. I don't want to be really very technical. I want to be very practical this afternoon. Mainit. Mainit ngayon dito, siguro mainit din dyan. Mainit yung topic natin, anger. So, huwag natin masyadong painitin. So, it's really not about management. It's really more of understanding the dynamics of anger and the emotion and the feeling. Okay, next page. Next slide, please. Okay. Primary goal natin, hindi naka-display ang aking presentation. Ako na lang ma'am ang magano. Let me open kung wala. Oh. Hold on. Can you give me a moment? Hindi pala naka-share. Yan. Okay. Kita na? Okay. So, next page, please. Is it me? Oh, yan. Okay. Our primary goal is to have a better framework. And then because we have a better framework of what anger is all about, we can lead to better decisions. And then, syempre, yung decision natin, it will lead to better action. Now, what do we mean by better? Kasi ngayon naman, you'll have to do an assessment of where you are. Are you, when it comes to anger, are you managing it well? Are you not managing it well? And then, what is your understanding of what anger is all about, how it works? And then, you can make better decisions if you will get angry or not. And then eventually, whatever resultant behavior, we'll see on what will happen next. So yun na lang ang primary goals natin. Then tingnan na lang natin towards the end on what you see can happen. Okay? Next slide, please. Bilisan ko lang kasi medyo mahaba yung next. Okay. Ito maganda kasi other people say it's a very strong emotion, anger. Ang laki niya eh. Mabigat, malaki. And then, when I read something, sabi sa akin nung book, it's a second-hand emotion. Hindi daw first-hand. Kasi pag sinabi mo first-hand, talagang ano yun eh, malakas. Pero pag sinabi niya second-hand, I ask myself, what does this person mean? Bakit second-hand? And then she explained that anger is an integral part of the body's fight, flight, or freeze system. In, of course, the resultant behavior of us protecting ourselves from threats or danger. So ano yung anger? Anger ba is fight, flight, or freeze? What do you think? Fight, flight, or freeze? Okay, I will go back to this question by the end, towards the end. Sana hindi ko malimutan. Kung siya ba ay fight, flight, or freeze. Some people, again, will see anger as an active emotion. Some people will see it as an active in a different way, while some people will say it's not active at all. Now let's see where it will go. Is it fight, flight, or freeze? Next slide, please. Magpo-post lang ako ng questions, ha? Next. Anger is not the same for everyone. Do you believe? Do you believe this one? Pare-pareho lang naman yung galit, di ba? At sabihin nila. But, it's not the same for everyone. Meron kasing iba na situation may be resulting to mema lang sa iba. Okay. Ganun lang. Well, yung iba, galit ang galit na, nanggigigil na. Or yung iba, patay mali siya lang na, dumaan lang. Now, let's say, give you the example. Kanina, narinig ko, pinag-usapan nila si Katniel eh. So, dito sa bahay namin, because I have my brothers and sisters, sometimes we talk about it over dinner. So, pinag-usapan namin yung Katniel. So, hindi ako I'm not really very particular about social media, about the both of them. Pero may mga discussions yung iba, affected. And then, affected to the point that I realized that yung health ng sister ko, talagang umiyak. Talagang hagulgul siya sa iyak because she was so affected by that. And kami magkakapatid, we were just in an intellectual discussion about what happened kasi gano'n yung mga kapatid ko eh. So we were talking about it as a situational problem that went haywire. Kumba. While another person is really processing it differently. Andun yung anger, and nandun yung emotion, and nandun andun yung iyak. So it was really frustration. It was really, really very frustrating. So again, it's not the same for everyone. Some will probably say, wala akong pakit, hindi ko naman yung kilala. Or, my tita, I have a tita kasi in the States. Hindi ko pala tita siya. Palo siya tita ko rin pala. Sa dami ng mga Pilipinong mga kamag-anak natin. So, tita rin pala. She doesn't even know these people. So, sa kanya parang it doesn't really matter. So, you see, it's not the same for everyone. Now, again, not talking about showbiz. Some people I've met will take school differently. Meaning, pag yung teacher binigyan siya ng failing mark, some people will have a different level of frustration while other people will have a certain level of anger. So it's not the same. It's not the same. So bakit ganito? Balik tayo sa psychology 101. People's behavior is really dependent on not just the situation but because of the background. So ganun din. It's still the same. So taken all together, ang tao kasi is not it's not 2D. Ang tawag natin dun two-dimensional. Hindi tayo two-dimensional. It's three-dimensional because we have circumstances surrounding us that makes us behave differently than the others. So that's why it's not the same. Anger is not the same for everyone. Okay, next po. Ako na ba? Ayan, ako na pala. Wait. Now, when do we feel anger? Check na lang kayo ha. When you feel attacked or threatened. So, well, let's talk about work. How does this apply to work? Yung feeling mo na hindi fair yung performance appraisal kasi may group may group evaluation, bakit merong isang A tapos yung iba B and then ang binigay sa C. So yung feeling that you are singled out is something that's causing people to feel anger, 'di ba? So that's how it happens. Alam ko marami pa kayo examples eh. When you feel attacked or threatened, oh let's go to social media. Magpo-post ka lang ng picture mo na nagsuot ka ng bagong mong damit and then people attack you. Nagagandahan ka na dyan? Ganda ba ng damit mo na yan? Hindi naman bagay sa'yo. You know, things like that. When you get attacked, then you get that seething feeling of really wanted to, burst. And then when you have that feeling, ayan yan, we call that being angry. Okay, the next one is deceived. Common din to ngayon. Pag-usapan natin um, yung ikaw ay niloko. Maraming mga taong naloloko eh. It's either sa pera, sa gamit, sa negosyo, when you were led to believe something which is not really true. So, nakakagalit yun. Sino ba namang matutuwa nun, di ba? And then, you get frustrated and powerless. When you get frustrated or powerless, you became more angry. Mas nakakagalit yun. Yung ginawa ka ng masama pero wala kang magawa. Yung gigil mo, hindi mo mailabas because you feel nothing will happen. So, it's actually causing a lot of turmoil and it actually leads to some other things like issues on mental health, performance a deplete in your performance level, so on and so forth. And then of course, invalidated or being unfairly treated is also a reason why we feel anger. Halos pareho na rin yan ng being deceived, and then of course, being disrespected. Actually, all of this, pwede mo pagsama-samahin sa isa eh. Talagang niloko ka, wala kang magawa, you feel frustrated, and then because of that, hindi ka nabuo. Yun, I think I got the right term. Some people will say, hindi na sila buo. Okay? Now, the next one is, what are the circumstances that may trigger feelings that lead to anger? Kasi, it's a paradigm di ba? Anger is the end state. Ito yun. Now, before you feel the anger, di ba sabi natin it's a secondary emotion. Kasi, some things will lead to anger. Hindi ka naman basta magagalit lang out of the blue eh. You will get angry because something happened. Like yung mga minention natin earlier. But these are some of the circumstances naman. More specific. Problems with a specific person, co-worker, partner, friend, family member, or being stuck in traffic, familiar ba? Or having a flight canceled. So personal problems that cause extreme worry or ruminating memories of traumatic or infuriating events. We also have physical or psychological pain. Now, before we go into that, kasi yung physical and psychological pain can also cause anger. But before we go to that, yung first two bullets muna, these are all trauma, no? Problems that leads to trauma. Problems that leads to a feeling of discontent to the point that you get frustrated. Then when you get to the point that, you are here and then you you are on a level and then you immediately go down, yung pagbaba mo na yan, the downtrend leads to people feeling frustrated, and then may tendency ang tao na umakyat, no? Sa pag-akyat niyan, then nagbo-burst. Now, some people um, are resistant to frustration. They will not say anything. Galit na pala, pangiting-hiti pa sa'yo. Eh, delikado yon. Kasi hindi mo alam, may galit na pala sa'yo. Baka mamaya, alam nyo yung mga napapanood natin sa K-drama, no? Na smile-smile lang sa'yo, and then hindi mo alam, pag talikod mo, sasaksakin ka na pala. But this actually happened in real life. Hindi nga lang yung technically sasaksakin ka, no? But they could be stabbing you in other ways. Like spreading bad things about you, um, or bad mouthing you to the boss. And these are things that are causing people to get so angry that if uncontrolled or unmanaged, it may lead to something else. So ano yung something else na yun? Let's go to that later. Now, what are the other trigger feelings? Pag sinabi mo trigger, yun yung nagli-lead, ha? Anger is the end state. What are the circumstances that lead to your end state? So you have physical or psychological pain. Physical pain or psychological pain also leads to anger. Lalo na kung frustrated ka dahil ikaw ay, if you have disability or you feel a pain in your body that you cannot really control. But sa something which is uncontrollable by you becomes a factor for you to be led to anger. Psychological pain is the same thing, If you have had trauma and that trauma, it's either nakalabas siya o nakailalim, you will sometimes see people who have a certain degree of anger in them that you will see them talking negatively about others. Nagkaroon ba kayo ng mga friends na ganun? Ako, I have a few friends, few na lang friends ko ngayon. Ganun yata pag tumatanda na na konti na yung kaibigan. But by nature kasi, hindi naman talaga ako masyadong maraming very close friend. But in a closely knit friendships, no, yung capacity for them to actually you to open up to them will unleash some of your pain. So medyo meron kang, tawag nga nila in other terms, yes, you can hindi naman dislocate pero I forgot the term, pero you can redirect it to them, so para hindi lang directly dun sa tao, para it will not really cause a lot of problems. Kasi pag yung anger mo minsan becomes uncontrolled, it may lead to problems. But we'll see that later. Environmental conditions such as uncomfortable temperatures. Ang dami ko nakikita niyan sa Facebook, yung mga nakahubad kasi nagagalit sila kasi sobrang init. So they really became ang sabi nga nila, they have a fiery temper because of uncomfortable temperatures. Hindi ko alam kung bakit pag mainit lang. Pag malamig naman, hindi masyado yung init ng ulo. Pero yung init talaga leads to init ng ulo. And then, of course, we have goals that are unachievable. Nakakagalit talaga yan. Lalo na kung marami kang gustong gawin sa buhay mo. And then you are able to assess yourself. And then you see that it's not really going anywhere. It's really frustrating. So kung frustrating talaga yan, minsan nakakagalit, nakakainis. And yung inis mo, that's where we look at the possibility of where you will direct your galit. No? And then directing your galit will be either towards yourself, towards others, or towards um, objects. No, we'll talk about that more later. So, personal offense due to unfair treatments, rejections, and criticisms. All of it, no, rolled into one, it's actually self explanatory. Okay. Slide 9. We can collectively say that all these causes us pain. Lahat yan. Okay, pain alone is not enough to cause anger. And anger occurs when pain is combined with anger triggering thought. So ano ibig sabihin nito? If we have a flow, yan, we have here a flow. You have pain. The pain leads to anger triggering thoughts. Ano yung mga anger triggering thoughts? Nasaktan ka. Ano yung mga thoughts or actions that can trigger you to anger, which is the end result? Personal assessment, assumptions, no? Yung assumptions yung masa ano sumama ang loob mo, let's say lang, let me give you an example. Let's not talk about Catherine anymore. Let's talk about something else, more at work, no? Let's say in your office, no, you were not given an increase. So, syempre, ang salary natin, supposedly, it is confidential. Kung bakit naman ang mga Pilipino talaga walang confidential pagdating sa pay. Talagang um, pinagpapakitaan pa. But, that's Filipino. I can't do anything about it. Now, ngayon, some people may be happy because they had good increases. Some people may not be as happy because they expected more. But some people are really gravely angry na. Why? Because they are not given any increases. Diba? So, dun sa part na you were expecting more pero konti yung binigay sa'yo, syempre you're in pain. So, ba't ang baba ng binigay sa akin eh? Ano na nga ako, work na nga ako. Di ba niya nakikita na pag may kailangan siya, ako na nga lang ang laging tumutulong. Tapos ganito lang i-increase ko. Those are things that will be running through your brain. So, syempre, kung bakit ang mga Pilipino naman, pag alam na increases, we draw our assumptions. Siguro, dahil ganyan-ganyan, ganito ibibigay. Tapos, pag hindi lumabas yun, galit na galit. So, sino pinapahirapan nila? Di ba? Sarili nila. And then their anger, no? Their anger is ang tawag natin, you feed your anger with these thoughts. Lalo na kung nagkakaroon ka ng feeling that someone doesn't deserve you deserve more than other people. Now that's just an example. Other pain that may lead to anger, minsan yan maliliit na bagay lang yan eh. Like for example, naghanda tapos sa handaan hindi ka natirahan. No? Usually, pag ganyan lang na nothing was left for you to eat, hindi naman yan malaking bagay na kailangan ipagwala mo eh. Because you can still buy something from outside. Pero nahaluan na yan ng mga emotions, thoughts, and then because hinalo-halo na yan ng lahat ng mga nakalipas na transgressions of the offending party, it led you to anger. And a lot of women, sorry naman, a lot of women are like that. Totoo nga. Kahit ako, I will admit. True. Yes. Pwede kami magtago. Ako, sige na, pagbigyan ko na. Tapos, yung maliit na bagay lang na hindi na nagawa, my own volcano. Diba? So, it really, truly happened. So, what do I say about all this? Balik muna ako sa slide 10. This is our pattern. Now, what do we do about it? No? Ngayon na alam na natin yung pattern, how do we control the anger? Because we're trying to understand yung pattern. Di ba? We started off with understanding what causes us to be angry. And then we now understand that this is the flow, no? Na para tayo'y maging magalit. So, what do we do about it next? No? Pero lang ako isa-segue. This is what I want to segue. Anger is a substitute emotion. Substitute emotion, sasabihin nyo, ma'am, kanina, anger, um, ano yan? Anong kaunahan natin dyan eh? Let me move back. We were saying that anger is not the same for everyone, and it is an integral part of the body's fight, flight, or freeze system. And these are the reasons why we experience anger. Bakit dadating doon sa point na sasabihin natin na it is a substitute? Parang it doesn't, parang it doesn't flow correctly. But biglang substitute emotion. Now, see this. It is a substitute emotion because sometimes people make themselves angry so that they don't have to feel the pain. Meron ba kayo experience na ganyan? Yung nasaktan ka, pero yung pain na nararamdaman mo, ayaw mong ipakita sa kanya na you're in pain. So instead of showing the person that you're in pain, ang papakita mo sa kanya galit. Let's say, for example, let's say, yung anak, I'm not sure if everyone has a child na by this time. Pero I can pick that one up as a very good example na minsan yung pagdarating yung mga anak natin. Tapos we can see yung child is under a lot of do I see it? She's in a lot of pain because ang feeling niya ay hindi tama yung grade na binigay sa kanya, di ba? So your daughter or son felt that she's the target of an unfair teacher. So, nagalit ka, no? Nagalit ka. Nakakagalit naman talaga eh. Pero bago ka nagalit, you feel the pain of your child. But you cannot show your child your pain because it's as if you're showing weakness. So instead of showing the weakness, you show your child your strength. And when you show that strength, you show yung anger. Gets nyo? Labo, no? Pero yun, alam mo, it's true. It's true. Sometimes, when we get frustrated, no? When we get frustrated, we feel pain. Halimbawa, ang usapan natin darating ka ng 5 o'clock, tapos hindi ka dumating ng 5, dumating ka 6, no? So, we don't want to show the feeling of frustration and the pain. I mean, instead of showing the person that we were hurt, we show the person anger. Sa mag-asawa, that's very common. Very common yan. And even sa boss at saka sa employee, sa subordinate niya, that's also very common. When the employee has to feel the pain, pero instead napakita niya na siya ay talunan, napakita niya yung pagiging resistant. So it has become a substitute emotion. Okay, that's the first one. The other one is people in pain. Part of the transmutation of pain into anger involves an attention shift from self-focus to other focus. Actually, galit ka sa sarili mo. Pero hindi mo mapakita sa sarili mo na galit ka. Hello, galit ka ako sa iyo. You can't do that. So instead of being angry at yourself, you vent your anger towards others. Alam ko may tawag dyan sa psychology, projection. We transmute the pain and anger to other people when in fact tayo ang nagdurugo. Nagdurugo ang puso and everything. And that's true. That's true. A lot of people on social media are like that. Yung pag nagbasa ng mga posts sa social media, look at the people who are really commenting very badly. Kung makapag-comment, akala mo magaganda sorry for the term. Yung kung mag-comment sila as if they are the better, brighter people in the world. 'Di ba? I mean, talking about Katniel ulit. Sorry But I was reading through a lot of comments. May mga ibang nagko-comment talaga na I feel so sad because they assume that they know better than the person themselves. So they instead of shifting, iniisip ko ano kayang problema nitong taong to na ang pinopost niya are so negative. So this person must be in pain. Yung mga kapatid ko nga sabi sa akin, bakit daw ako ay very slow to anger? Yes, I am very slow to anger. Pero pag nagalit ako, talagang sagad hanggang loob. Sagad talaga pag nagalit ako. But it's my process. It's my process and it works for me. But what I'm seeing is different from what I'm really practicing. Kasi yung social media nga, I know a lot of people has been saying a lot of things about it. But alam niyo yun, yung pag-comment mo ng very negative, when in fact, the intention was just to say your piece, parang hindi maganda. So, a lot of people are in pain. So, sa Pilipinas, maraming taong in pain. Diba? So, we need to do something about it. And the other one is anger protects. Anger thus temporarily protects people from having to recognize and deal with their painful real feelings. One way that it's positive is when we can't deal with it. Minsan yung mga bagay na dumarating sa buhay natin, hindi pa natin kayang tanggapin. So pag hindi natin kayang tanggapin kasi masyadong masakit or it's something na hindi pa unacceptable sa'yo, ang feeling na lumalabas is anger. Now, the anger need not be seen as something negative because it protects if you're in psychology, you know what the id is, the ego and the superego. It protects the ego, no? Para at least you feel protected as a person. So, yun naman, as long as the person will go through the process na yung kanyang vulnerability and softness will eventually transition and she will be able to come out of it. Yun lang masama pag hindi makaalis. So we need to get somebody else to help her, no? Pag hindi na siya makaalis dun sa part na yun. Kaya 'di ba, if you go to the States, ang daming may anger management issues din eh. They even have, a group session on anger management in when they can actually show and express their feelings. Kasi merong iba na dalawa yan eh. Hindi makapagsabi ng anger nila and it is driven in. And the other one who is so vocal na nung lahat ng lumalabas sa bibig niya nakakasakit. So it's it's something that needs to be understood, especially in this day and age when psychology and psychological terms are being used left and right, even if a lot of people don't know the meaning of it. So, yun lang, sad. And then, lastly, smoke screen. Smoke screen for feeling of vulnerability when you are becoming angry also is creates a feeling of righteousness, power, and its moral superiority that is not present when someone is merely in pain. Now, this one is not good. Substitute emotion siya for your vulnerability. Ayaw mong ipakita yung vulnerability mo that you became so outspoken and so righteous when in fact deep inside you are the one who are softy. Alam niyo kung saan ito common sa politicians. Yes. Kasi ano yan it's power, no? And you striving for superiority. When in fact you talk to a lot of people in politics, a lot of them has that sensitivities in them. Saka napaka-sensitive lalo na pagtitirahin mo, hindi lang sila, pero pati pamilya nila. So it becomes a smoke screen. Okay? Wala namang politician dito. Sana naman wala po. Okay. Now, defining anger as a problem. Okay. The definition of whether someone's anger is a problem often turns on whether or not other people agree with them that their anger and the actions they take is in the name of their anger. Okay. Now, this one is where anger is the problem. I think na-define na natin earlier yun eh. Pag yung ibang tao hindi naka-align, if they have not aligned their anger to your anger, or hindi naka-align yung anger mo dun sa problem talaga. I know a lot of people like this. Oh my God. Kayo kaya? Hopefully, hindi. Okay. Now, when is it justified? Kasi sabi natin kanina, di ba, meron doon na positive, no? When is it justified? Kasi it's seen, anger is seen to be a negative emotion. Pero sometimes anger will have its plus plus. Okay. So, justified or unjustified, vulnerability or control, helplessness or power. Okay. Okay. First bullet, whether justified or unjustified, the seductive feeling of righteousness associated with anger offers a powerful temporary boost to self-esteem. Good or bad? What do you think? Okay lang yan kasi nakaka-boost ng self-esteem. Only up to a level that yung anger mo is something that you will recalibrate and change. Lalo na kung siya ay unjustified. Pero kung justified yung anger mo, kasi may mali naman talaga. Alam niyo yung mga boss, I saw another video kagabi. Parang ang pinoportray nila, yung mga boss, utos lang ng utos, sila ang trabaho ng trabaho. Pero yung mga boss, ang laging absent pag may bakasyon. Sino nga ba yun? Nakalimutan ko sino yung pinanood ko na yun eh. But this may lead to bosses being angry kasi may nakapanood eh. So yung napanood, syempre pinagalitan yung nag-post. So pinagalitan yung nag-post. And then they had to explain, no? When is anger justified? Kailangan alam mo kung kailan justifiable ang anger mo. It's justified if a work that is supposed to be done is not done. If a deadline that has to be met was not met, especially if you were given enough time if you were given enough support, and if you are within the scope of your job description. Tapos hindi mo nagawa. Justified yung anger. Di ba? Yun lang yun. And it is more satisfying to feel angry than to acknowledge the painful feelings associated with vulnerability. Tama ba ito? Hindi. Satisfying yung maging angry ka, no? Pero it's not good to always hide your painful feelings, no? Mas magandang i-acknowledge mo na nga naman yung painful feelings mo and show your weak side. Hindi ko lang alam kung bakit dito sa Pilipinas kasi I've had good bosses in Singapore, some from the US. I've had good bosses. Alam mo sila, umaamin sila ng mali nila. They don't mind telling you that they made a mistake or they fall short or they were not able to give you enough control. Ewan ko lang dito sa Pilipinas. Medyo, lalo na yung mga family-owned. I just don't know how it's being done here. But I've been to multinational companies kasi the only company I joined which is 100% Filipino is San Miguel Corporation and the university where I work. So yun eh. Ang struggle kasi doon is when to acknowledge yung feeling mo na hindi mo sasabihin na ikaw ay weak. We don't want to call ourselves weak. Hindi ko alam kung bakit takot ang mga Pilipinos weak. It has its good sides anyway. But that's for another topic, siguro. You can use anger to convert feelings of vulnerability and helplessness into feelings of control and power. Some people develop an unconscious habit of transforming almost all of their vulnerable feelings into anger so they can avoid having to deal with them. Alam ko nakakita na kayo ng ganito. Para lang yung nagkamali ay hindi mo matanong. O para lang yung boss ay hindi mo matanong. Magagalit sa'yo. Papakitaan ka niya ng galit para hindi ka na makalapit kasi galit eh. Di ba? Sometimes they use it. It's not justified. It's a show of power. Kaya lang it's not really healthy. Okay. And then the last one, the problem becomes that even when anger distracts you from the fact that you feel vulnerable, you still at some level feel vulnerable. Oo nga. So kahit na magpakagalit ka, kahit papano, kahit pinakita mo ang galit mo at sobrang to the max na yung galit mo, you cannot still feel the true feeling na ikaw ay indestructible. Vulnerable ka pa rin. Kahit na magkunwari ka sa harap ng ibang tao, pero sa sarili mo, you know, your anger is unjustified. That's how sad and sorry. Nakakalungkot yun. No? But sometimes some bosses are like that. Sometimes some employees are like that as well. So we try to check. No? Justified ba o hindi? Okay, 14. Now these are the types. I just had them in boxes, but let me look at it one at a time. Can you see it ba? Bilisan ko na. Passive anger. These are the types. What kind of angry are you? Okay. Are you the passive? Are you one who is do you exhibit passive anger? Okay. It doesn't express itself. Yun na yung lumalabas lang siya doon sa yung mga bato. Alam nyo, have you met people like this? Yung hindi nagsasalita. Pero pag nagsalita, may tama. Tapos, kahit na ano sabihin mo, feeling mo talaga, patama sa'yo, pero walang sinasabing pangalan mo. There are people like that. Grabe talaga yan. Passive anger, however, can be directed internally din. Pwedeng papasok. So, when you have repressed your anger, minsan you don't even know that you are angry. And that is the one that causes stress. Patingin na tayo pag ganyan. O go to your counselor kung meron kayo. Okay, 2, volatile anger. This is the opposite of the spectrum. Passive narito yung volatile. So that's the two sides, Itong volatile naman, explosive and unpredictable. Hindi mo alam kung saan gagaling, you know. Sometimes they are saying things over and over again, but you cannot really pinpoint what they are complaining about. And it's very difficult kasi not unless the person will be able to pinpoint what will make the anger go down, you cannot actually deal with him. Might as well send the person to a very good boss who can talk to him more placidly. Pero yung ganitong anger kasi, minsan, violent. So, violent meaning they become sometimes physical. We don't want that. Fear-based anger. Sometimes it's easier to be mad than scared. Itong mga free-based anger na to, ano naman yan, mabait naman sila, except mas mabilis silang mahatak ng iba. Kasi may takot eh. So yung takot nila will lead them to anger. I mean, they show the anger to cover up their fear. So it could be consciously or unconsciously. So yung pupunta ka sa sa boss mo, galit ka din, no? Galit ka din kasi gusto niyo makipag-usap, makikipag-negotiate kayo, So you are angry, But hawakan mo dibdib niyan talaga. Because these are people who show their anger because they are in a group of people, and then they feel the comfort of the many, no, they are with. So yung fear nila is covered up. So, however, itong medyo mahirap din ito kasi it may lead to outburst. Of course, hindi naman common that they are hurtful to other people. Kaya lang alam mo naman, pag uncontrollable, minsan hindi sila direct nakakasakit, pero they go wild, no? That's fear-based anger. And then we have 10. Number 5 is pain-based. This is a type of anger that masks hurt, pain, or even clinical depression. A lot of people in the workplace are now going through a lot of psychological trauma, no? Kaya naglalagay sila lahat ng mga in-house clinics, even sa mga manufacturing, they have counselors and psychologists because a lot of them are happening here. I have one person that I know who came from Manila, umuwi sa probinsya because, ang pinapakita niya is galit, but actually, she is in pain. Yung underlying pain niya, hindi niya alam kung ano o bakit. So that's really something for clinicians to discover. Number 6 is chronic anger. No question about it, anger can be a rush. You feel powerful, dominant, at least in the moment. And anger certainly makes an impact. However, pagkatapos ng outburst, wala na. May mga taong ganun eh. Magagalit, tapos immediately afterwards, they will be chummy-chummy with you. Yung tipong lahat na lang ng ginagawa mo mali, pagkatapos ayain kang magkape. you know, sometimes people are like that. Na the ano lang, they they just they just have the feel for it. Tapos kaya lang I would suggest this happens a lot to people. This happens a lot to people who have ano, yung irregular ang mga schedules. Kasi ano yan eh, yung normal kasi 'di ba we have yung day and night. So it actually works that way. It's not I don't want to call it normal or not normal. I call it regular or not regular. The regular day hours work and then the night hours sleeping. So this is really something for clinicians also to look at. 7, manipulative anger. O ito, marami nito sa mga clique groups. Yung ang intention lang ng being angry is to be able to consciously or unconsciously control others. Do you have you had experience of having friends like this? Na pag hindi ka sumama, galit sa'yo. Magpipiknik o picnic. Sorry, picnic ang tawag namin eh. Mag-outing, pupunta sa beach or something. Pag di ka sumama, galit sa'yo. So in order for them not to be, for them or for that person not to be angry, minsan napipilitan ka. Yung pag nagkaroon ka ng feeling na you are pressured to do something which is against your will, someone is manipulating you. So you just have to check if ang ginagamit sa iyo is yung manipulative anger. Some people are like that. Some boyfriends are like that. Some girlfriends are like that as well. So beware. And then 8, overwhelmed anger. No question, life is hard. Everyone is stressed. We are all tired. We're anxious and worried. It's Christmas time. So when you feel that life has too much to offer and then you cannot take it anymore, you get angry at the world. So you became overwhelmed. So what do? You don't you eat nutritiously, you exercise, you distress. Yan yung mga kasi uso ngayon yung tawag dyan, you have multi jobs. You work day, you work night, tapos you have 2 or 3 persons that you report to. You become stressed, you become anxious, then nakatira ka pa sa bahay mo, yan ang mga things like that. Or you go to work, you go to work pero you travel time mo per day siguro mga 4 hours. And then you have the struggle of not just a struggle of transport but of course struggle of increasing rates ng mga pagkain and everything. And because it's presenting itself too much and then may mga travel pa online na nakikita mo na hindi ka makasama, na buti pa sila, ikaw hindi. Mga ganon, nagagalit ka. So you're easy to anger, but it's not really directed on anyone, but it's just a feeling of being worried, and anxious. But you're not directing your anger to anyone. Ang problema lang dito kasi sa overwhelmed anger, it's all directed towards yourself. Then 9, physiological anger. It's not only a psychological state, but it can also affect your physical basis. Low blood sugar, that's physiological anger. Okay, now it's hindi siya just psychological state, it's physical basis. Hindi naman ako galit sa sarili ko kahit dahil ako mataba ngayon because I was really very slim before. Pero yung physiological, I'm not really angry about it. But for an instance, siguro pumayat ako pero hindi naman ako dumating doon sa point na I was angry. Hindi naman. But some people are really angry, no? Not only because of how they look, but because of what they hear from other people. Alam ko bakit ang mga Pilipino talaga judgmental eh. So Kaya yung mga reunion, maraming ayaw umattend. Maraming nagpo-post nun, di ba? Sa reunion, huwag niyo sasabihin na tumaba ka or pumayat ka o anong dala mong bag, ikaw ba'y naka Louis Vuitton o ikaw ba'y naka ikaw ay nakabayong lang or whatever. So, don't talk about all these things kasi it actually causes a lot of anxiety. So, number 10, which is the last one, is the righteous anger. So, dito ako gustong mag-focus. This anger is constructive kasi it's with a cause. May reason for being angry. Now, it's a kind of anger that spurs you to action, righting a wrong, defending the innocent and helpless. Now, this is the kind of anger that makes the world a better place. Now, yung righteous anger, it's not because you wanted a change agad-agad. It's because you wanted to correct a behavior, no? You wanted to correct a behavior, especially if the behavior is that of not really doing anything about it. So you would like to correct something. So ayaw mo naman na ayaw mo naman ipakita yung anger mo in such a way that um it's ayaw mo ipakita yung that it's actually damaging to someone or other people. Pwede naman na yung anger mo can be generalized, but in the course of the generalization, targeted mo rin kung ano yung gusto mong mangyari. I've had some people who say a lot of comments online, no? Pero very ano yung mga comments nila sometimes are generic. Pag sinabi mong generic, hindi targeted at saka hindi constructive. I-demean ka muna bago sabihin kung anong gusto sabihin. Parang pupulaan ka muna up to the level na pati sarili mo mapapahiya. And then eventually they will say na ito na lang gawin natin. Pero I don't know what type of communication we have in this day and age that we really have to correct this one. And a lot of people get angry because they are triggered. Ito mga trigger to eh. Trigger lahat yan. Yung lahat ng nakalagay dyan na mga ginagawa natin na nagkakos ng anger, those are the triggers. And we don't want those triggers kasi it eats up our energy. When our energy should be shifted towards something more productive, more righteous, more helpful for people, anong nangyayari? We redirect it to something which is eventually leading to just nothing. So would you like to offer na lang your effort, no? Your effort, your energy into something that will really be more productive and make people happier. I think that's the better option. Okay. Now, what is our takeaway? Our takeaway is anger is a normal human emotion. Everyone experiences it at some point in their lives. When it is controlled, it can be a source of good, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones, for your community, and your world. My takeaway here is, and may takeaway na tayo, di ba? My last word about it is, it's not wrong to be angry, but to be angry at the right moment, at the right time, in the right way. No, I think that's and then for the right reasons, I think that will be best rather than just throwing away yung negativities because it will lead you are not harboring harmony in people. We want people to be happier, and we cannot make people happier if we don't show yung anger natin fairly. So let's be fair to others, but of course let's be fair to ourselves as well because I think that's important. Okay, so with that, Thank you so much for listening to me. Um I think that's all. And if you have questions, just let me know. Thanks.
All right. Can everyone hear us? Ayan. Balik natin to ha. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Cielo. I don't know about you guys, pero maraming beses ako natamaan sa sinabi ni Ma'am Cielo. Kasi
Galit
nakaka-relate
ka.
siya, not just in HR, but also in our personal lives.
Mm-mm.
Kasi if we would notice, 'di ba? Like we usually get angry because we care about that other person, right? So it's usually the people that we love the most, that we treasure and trust the most, that causes the most extreme type of anger with us. Pag binangga ka ng isang stranger on the street, nagagalit pa, pero sandali lang, hindi, you don't lose sleep over it. But if it's somebody that you trusted day in, day out, whom you shared all your secrets with, whom you have a very long tenured relationship with, yun pa yung mga taong lalong nagda-disappoint sa'yo. What do you think, Sir Alan?
Anger. Gusto ko yung justified anger ni ma'am, yung
Mm,
um, meron kang gustong i-correct, no? Okay.
mm,
Now,
mm,
sa personal lives, no?
mm,
Karamihan ng gentlemen, mga husbands, are
mm,
always are always experiencing anger from their wives.
mm,
Some of those
mm,
anger
That's
are
true.
justified.
Oo.
Ito lang yung mga advice ko
mm,
sa mga kapwa ko husband, no? Learn
mm,
from Lao Tzu. Alam niyo sabi ni Lao Tzu, silence is a source of great strength.
mm,
Mm.
Kasi
mm,
pag sinabayan mo yan, sinalubong mo rin ng anger, ano na mangyayari? Away na yun, di ba? So,
mm,
ikaw yung mas nakaintindi, paintindi mo na lang, pakinggang maigi. And kasi, we know, there are some frustrations from our wives na hindi tayo aware. Kasi ang lalaki, may
mm,
sariling mundo yan, na
mm,
minsan nagiging cause yan talaga ng misunderstanding. Now, sa
mm,
corporate level, ang madalas na nabanggit ni Ma'am, may iba't ibang klase ng anger, no? I believe
mm,
it's a matter of ano na rin eh, a matter of practicing assertiveness. When you are
mm,
assertive, automatically merong reason why you're angry, no?
mm,
And
mm,
coupled with a lot of self-awareness and self-regulation,
mm,
maiwasan mo siguro mag-express ng iyong anger na unbecoming of you as a manager, as an employee,
mm,
siguro as a professional.
mm,
Kasi
mm,
the corporate world is not a place where you can just express your anger like how you express it in the house, at home, no? Um,
mm,
Kailangan pa rin you express it in a professional manner. Kaya tinuturo
mm,
natin yung assertiveness training eh. And
mm,
if ever there are some frustrating incidents na caused by
mm,
your subordinates, colleague, or even your boss,
mm,
being professional is parang telling you that you remain assertive na lang. Parang
mm,
um, kung meron siyang karapatang magkamali, meron ka rin karapatang magkamali. Kung meron siyang karapatang magalit, meron ka rin karapatang ma-express yung iyong frustration in a very professional way.
mm,
Assertiveness is more of parang an expression of anger in a more professional way without
mm,
necessarily showing the emotion para lang ma-express mo yung you don't like what's happening. It's a matter of saying
mm.
no professionally and politely without showing your negative and negative emotion. That's how I see it.
Ma'am Shelo, we would like to read some of the comments on the floor. We have Sir Oliver Requelman. Sir Liv, sabi niya, that was a
I
good one.
live.
Miss Cielo Marte Presas, that was a good material you have shared. Have a blessed Sunday. Iris Buen Consejo is saying, Yes, this is so true. Someone scammed us after helping the said person as a good Samaritan. Ibang klase ang scamming, world class. And I'm so glad that the community has modules like this because God is so good. And I think, sabi ni Ma'am Iris, I think we've normalized no shaming anger. But the truth
Yeah.
is we shouldn't. As long as the reason and ethics is real, anger is that part of us that absolutely loves us and knows when to stop tolerating abuse or imbalance. And then she also added, it's also important never to invalidate or shame anger kasi
Yeah.
anger helps us to file cases against some perpetrators or criminals that has debilitating patterns because
Mm-mm.
they always get away with it. It's important to put them behind bars after ruining people's lives. And they
So,
did it by scheming. Slow anger but maximum patience. But is harming na to the collective. That's when one can take it to the extreme. Forgiveness does not work on such cases. Uh it does not work on later on. Tapos
yeah.
nasabi ni Ma'am Joya Morales, interesting topic. I've learned a lot. Thank you, Miss Shelo. And I think you've experienced anger, Ma'am Shelo. And sometimes a lot of the viewers feel they cannot control their anger, right? Because
Mm-mm.
it's
Yeah.
not easy for many people to control their anger. And sometimes, yung sinasabi nila na nagdidilim yung paningin, yung all
True.
of a
Oo.
sudden, pag na-trigger ka, para kang machine gun na lahat ng pwede mong sabihin para saktan yung tao na yun,
Mm.
sasabihin mo na. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, pag tapos na yung episode, you look back and say like, what happened to me? I think I changed from a normal, sane person to a madman. And I'm sorry to really hurt those people. Yun yung nangyayari na pag tapos silang ma-hurt, babalikan nila yung tao, tapos babait sila, bibigyan nila ng
Yeah.
pagkain, bibigyan nila ng regalo. After mo nang binugbog yung mental health ng person, babalikan mo yung tao na yun. Kasi you feel bad because you know that it really happened. Yung you know talaga na hindi tama yung ginawa mo. What would be your advice to those people whose anger gets triggered and hindi nila alam minsan talaga sobra yung reaction nila? How can you help? What can you suggest to them so they can control that?
I think that's one thing I did not mention kasi yung management of anger is different in different generations. Yung generation namin kasi talagang ano kami, we think, pero may mga generations kasi na because they're still young, yung control kasi of this emotion, lalo na yung anger, it comes with age and
Mm.
experience, I think. Kasi if you haven't been angry, or you haven't been in a position when you can get really super angry, you wouldn't know how to handle it immediately. Syempre yung iba, bubuga ka talaga agad eh. Kasi
Mm.
lalo na if you're in your 20s,
Mm.
no,
Mm.
20s o kaya early 30s, pag nagalit ka talagang ano yan eh, lalabas. And of course, papasok dyan yung economic,
Media. Mm. Mm.
reputation, and of course,
Mm.
yung whatever it is that you see on the media. Ang media ngayon, iba kaysa before. So,
Mm.
if you will ask me kasi, what do you do? Let's say I'm talking to a person,
Mm.
say I'm talking to my daughter. My
Mm.
daughter is 22 and my son is 30. My son
Mm.
is slow to anger. He is
Mm.
slow to anger. Pero pag nagalit yan, mabigat. My daughter is everyday anger. 22
Mm.
years old. Because that's her generation eh. Yung to
Mm.
everyday anger. Now how do I manage that?
Mm.
How do I
Mm.
manage that?
Mm.
Yung sa kanya, we have a lot of material about it on how to handle it. Nilalagay na
Mm.
dyan. Take a walk,
Mm.
um,
Mm.
count to 10 before you say anything. Pero alam
Mm.
mo yan, yung everything that they have said in the
Mm.
list will take you
Mm.
to think about it. Ang
Mm.
anger kasi, dito lahat galing. Hindi ka na
Mm.
talaga mag-iisip. And
Mm. Tama.
that's
Mm.
really very difficult to do. So it takes a
Mm.
lot for a person
Mm,
to be able to control it. Pero mas maganda
mm,
kung meron kang coach.
mm,
Kung meron kang coach. O kaya, if yung gigil ka na, you write it
mm,
down. I think that's the best. You write whatever it is that, you wanted to say or you wanted to vent, you write it down. And then when you write it down, at least, wag mo isi-send.
mm,
Kasi, alam mo, ginawa ko yan before. Put comedy part sa akin. Nagano eh. I wrote I wrote it down sa email.
mm, mm,
Hindi ko alam na send ko pala.
mm,
Na-send ko pala yung galit ko. So, syempre, di ba, kakahiya. So, syunga-syunga
mm.
ang lola eh. So, but, but I did not mean everything. I mean, I meant some, but in a nice way. But in a nice way.
Mm,
Pero, I could have reworded it and I could have delivered it better. So, ang sa akin lagi na advice, especially for the young,
mm,
make sure that whatever it is that you will say, don't say it immediately.
mm,
I mean, give yourself time to say,
mm,
write, or
mm,
explain anything, because truth of the matter is, anything that you will say
mm.
outburst
Outburst, yeah.
mo, you will
Mm,
regret later. So I always say that. So again, breathe in, breathe out. Don't write. Don't write agad. Don't say agad. Turn your back, count to 10, hinga ng
mm,
malalim, and then if you have decided to say it pa rin, say it
mm,
in a calm way. That's how to do it.
mm.
I hope
Ma'am, what would
they
be your
understand.
advice
Oh,
for those who feel that they can always ask for forgiveness afterwards? Kasi minsan tayo, 'di ba, pag may nasabi tayong nasaktan, sasabihin na, "Uy pare, sorry sa time na 'yon." Tapos the next time uulitin mo na naman uli. Or kunyari may time naman na, "Ay joke lang ha." Kunyari even at work, it happens at work. You say something mean, and then 'pag nag-react yung tao sasabihin, "Ay sorry pare, joke lang 'yan eh." We're in a that very we deny accountability when we say hurtful things. But
no.
may tao pa rin, maraming tao na uulitin pa nila uli, hindi sila titigil. The next time uli, next week, hihirit na naman.
Mhm.
Tapos magre-react. What would be your advice sa mga taong paulit-ulit? Kasi syempre, hanggang hindi pa napupulis, hindi pa nakukulong, go pa ng go. Kasi
Yeah.
the people are patient, you know? Like, people can be very patient and hanggang di mo
Mhm.
alam, may saksakan, may na
Yeah.
ano na, talagang lumaki na yung problema. What would be your advice para hindi yan ma-escalate? Lalong-lalo na from an HR perspective. Pag
Oh,
nakikita nila 'tong nangyayari sa mga employees nila.
yeah. Ako kasi madokumento ako eh. That's what they know about
Hmm,
me. Everything is in document. So when they say
hmm.
something, they want
Out of
another
line.
chance. Yes, when they're out of line, they have a request. I ask them to put it in writing. So pag naka
Hmm,
pag written down, sign their name. It's not typewritten. It's handwritten. It's something
hmm,
personal.
hmm, hmm,
I always make sure that I have something to show them
hmm,
after.
hmm,
On the professional level yan ha. Kasi
hmm,
madokumento ang
hmm,
HR eh. So
tama.
that's what we always do, no?
Hmm,
Personally,
hmm,
um, trust and confidence lagi yan eh. So, we get hurt in the process. Ganun talaga.
hmm,
So,
hmm,
unless you give the person a second chance, and
hmm,
then the second chance, ako kasi I don't say, oh, second chance mo yan eh. The second chance mo na yan
hmm,
ha. Pag nagkamali ng minsan, I give the
hmm,
person the last chance. Hindi
hmm,
second. Last chance. And then when I say
hmm,
last na talaga. Wala na kasunod. And if they
hmm,
know that you're that kind of a person who will live
hmm,
up to the last chance always, kilala ka na. Hindi mo na uulitin. Kasi you have to build also your your ano eh, your
Reputation.
credibility. Oo,
Mm.
credibility mo as an HR eh. Kapag sinabi ni ma'am na walang second chance dyan, last chance ka na agad. And then you will live up to it. Kasi bumali ka ng minsan, sira ka na. So you
Mm.
really wanted to control them, lalo na kung
Mm.
marami.
Mm.
Hindi pa pwede na hindi pa pwede na second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th chance.
Mm.
Kaya lang,
Mm.
kaya lang we have to be honest, no? Sa business kasi, lalo na if it's
Mm.
IT or if it's call center na may need for headcount, hindi ka
Mm.
makapag-terminate agad because may client kang minamanage. Sometimes
Mm.
they can get away with it. So, yun
Mm.
yun lang the sorry thing about it. Yun nga lang, may pambalik ka ulit. Pambalik mo
Mm.
dyan, it will be reflected on their performance evaluation. So
Mm.
other people who have not broken their word will get higher rates. Ikaw na
Mm.
nakapag-break ng ilang beses, you will not get the same rates. So, mga ganun.
Mm. Yeah. How about you, Sir Alan?
Yun, ang pinaka like napag-aralan ko about anger, no? Unang-una, ang effect nun sa brain natin, it will release a lot of cortisol, stress hormones, di
Yeah.
ba?
Mm.
And when
Mm.
it
Mm.
happens, lalong nati-trigger kasi kaya nga sabi nila, nag-spiral ka downward kasi habang nagagalit ka, dumadami yung cortisol, lalo ka nagre-react.
Mm.
Ang masakit nun, you
Mm.
become you become habituated to it, becomes a
Correct.
you become an addicted person of the cortisol of anger.
Mm.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
Mm.
I'm a
Yeah.
meditation practitioner and many times
Nice.
ang pinakamabilis na ano ko na pinakamabilis na treatment sa akin is talagang self-talk, positive self-talk. And
Mm.
I make it a point to release dopamine or happy hormone, yung mga
Dopamine.
positive hormone. One
Mm.
thing that you can do, yung pinaka-immediate na pwede mong gawin is take some sweets. Sabi ni Iris,
Oh.
kumain ka ng ice cream. Kung walang chocolate or anything that can release dopamine, wala kang access walang food. Then controlled by your mind. Self-talk, positive
Mm.
self-talk. Okay, I can feel anger, pero this is just a temporary emotion. I am better than
Mm.
this. I am a better person. And then I imagine a better person reacting or responding to the situation. Then I begin to look at the brighter side of the coin, and I tell myself that something good will come out of this situation. Only positive
Mm.
things will happen in this situation. And immediately na bumababa ng bumababa. Pero kung talagang ang situation is it calls for righteous anger, pinakakawalan ko. Talagang pinakakawalan ko.
Oo
Kasi righteous
naman.
anger naman I want the person to really feel na mali yung ginawa niya. Mahaba ang forbearance ko Nauwi pa nga yan sa forgiveness. I don't believe
Mm.
in tolerance kasi mali na siya Forbearance,
Mm.
yes. There's a big difference between tolerance and forbearance. Siguro i-research na lang nila.
Yeah.
Pero mauwi pa yan sa forgiveness kapag talagang inamin niya at nakita kung merong remorse dun sa person. Pero kung itutuloy niya yung mali niyang ginagawa, talagang
Mm.
palalabasin ko yung galit ko. Firm pero fair. Fair in the sense that
Yeah.
I don't say any bad words, pero mararamdaman yung impact niya. Impact ng sinabi ko, tatamaan yung kaluluwa niya, makukonsensya talaga sa ginawa niya. Something like that. Kasi walang effect kung sinaktan mo lang siya Kailangan tamaan talaga
Mm.
siya sa puso niya, sa konsensya niya, doon
Mm.
sa ginawa niyang mali. By calling and invoking on his integrity and his values, nasan yung values mo, sa yung prinsipyo mo sa ginawa mong to. Di ba? Parang you're doing things that are only to satisfy your ego. And yet you are doing and yet you're amused of seeing people suffer from your words and actions. Anong klase
Yeah.
ka? Nasaan ang integrity and values, ang honor mo bilang tao? Where is it? And I tell it to
Mm.
him directly, or kahit na malaman pa ng ibang tao, I have no regrets in doing that, just to wake up the person, something like that. Pero
I
kasi nga, katulad mo ma'am, slow to anger din ako. Very, very slow to anger. Pero once na prinsipyo ng pinag-uusapan, kahit sa
Oo
politics,
naman.
kahit sino ka pa, kahit sa politics, aawayin kita. Labanan tayo ng labanan tayo ng prinsipyo, hindi ako aatras sa'yo. Something like that.
Mm.
Ayun po.
I'd like to, kasi diba, I'd like to remind people that when they get angry, they shouldn't just think about what it is for them. Kasi 'di ba sometimes pag nagagalit tayo, it's because somebody stepped on our toes and we get triggered and then we react to it. But lalong-lalo na kasi pagdating sa professional field or even with people that we treasure the most, the person, we spend so much time building a relationship with the other person. And
Mm.
sometimes it takes just a few, 1 to 2 episodes of anger for that person to don't like us because we
Yeah.
exhibited anger in such a way that abhors people. It's
Yeah.
good to show displeasure and anger, 'di ba? Lalong-lalo na, as you've mentioned, Ma'am Shelo and Sir Alan, as justified anger. But you have to make sure that the cause entails that, is
Mm.
justified by it.
Yep.
Kasi pag nag-react ka, pinalaki mo ang isang issue, tapos lagi mong ginagawa yun, kahit mataas ang sweldo na binibigay mo sa tao na yun, kahit matagal na kayong kaibigan, there will come a breaking point that the person will say, you know what, I don't want to deal with you. I can't change you. Kasi every time I approach you, galit ka palagi. 'Di ba may mga taong gano'n,
Mm.
kinausap mo pero hindi cool yung ginawa mo, tas lalo mong sinabihan, lalo pang magagalit sa'yo para ikaw pa yung may mali.
Oo
You
nga.
have the courage to tell that person that's not cool, and that person would react negatively pa. Because syempre, sino
Mm.
ba naman ang gustong mapagsabihan? None of
Yeah.
us wants anyone to tell us what to do or what not to do. It's very
Yeah.
natural. But we have to remember that we spend so much time building relationships, and it's usually
Mm.
competence people can still forgive eh. Alam mo yon,
Yeah.
parang I'm sorry, I can be careless eh. Pero when
Mm.
you're angry and you exhibit anger that's below the belt,
Yeah.
most people don't have patience for that. And
Yes.
diba, it's related to what Miss Maria Isabella has said. And I'd like you to comment, Miss Cello. When you witness the person you admire getting angry, your respect for them
Yeah.
diminishes. My question is it possible to command respect even when your boss displays anger? Ma'am Shelo.
Okay. I was about to say that kanina kasi um, we get angry din naman, no?
Mm,
Tao lang tayo. Eh. We get angry. Pero tama yung sinabi mo, it has to be justified. It has to be
mm,
justified. Anger for a fact is, let's say lang, it's the other person who's angry and you want to talk to the
mm,
other person about yung kanyang
mm,
anger issues. No?
mm,
You let the person talk to you inside,
mm,
inside your room. And
mm,
then, sabi mo lang sa kanya, let's talk about this incident. Oh, can you
mm,
tell me what
mm,
happened to this? So, and can you tell me what
mm,
happened from your perspective? Sa tingin
mm,
mo, what happened? Tapos, magkikwento yan eh, on how the person perceives it from her viewpoint. And then
mm,
sasabihin ko yung perception ng ibang tao from their viewpoint and then perception
mm,
ko.
mm,
And then
mm,
I will ask her kasi hindi ako magsasabi na magsasabi. Kailangan siya magsabi. O doon sa
mm,
narinig mo, um, saan tayo hindi nagtatagpo.
mm,
And then if the person is in her proper mind, then she really is in
mm,
intellectual, alam mo, into an intellectual conversation, the person will be talking to you. And then sabihin ko, and
mm,
then I always do this eh. I always tell the other person, ako ang mali ko ito. Sa tingin mo, ikaw. And then normally the other person will always tell me na mag-apologize din. I have had
mm,
a lot of conversations with my employees before. And doon sa conversations namin na ganyan, meron akong iisang beses na tumaas ang boses ko na buong floor namin, dinig ang boses ko galing dun sa maliit kong kwarto.
mm,
It is because that person cannot see that what he did was wrong.
Frustration. Mm.
He did not see. Hindi niya talaga makita na mali yung ginawa niya. Oo. At ang mali na ginawa niya, ang mali na ginawa niya, pati, he shouted at me. He shouted at me
Mm.
then, ah,
Mm.
sa labas ng opisina ko. Sa labas ng opisina ko,
Mm.
nadinig na lahat. So, nag-usap
Mm.
kami. We were trying to, I was trying to
Mm.
understand. So, binigyan ko siya
Mm.
ng chance. Hindi niya ako,
Mm.
nakipag-ano pa siya sa akin eh. So,
Mm.
my anger went up to the
Mm.
roof. And I was telling
Mm.
him, I am disappointed. I'm
Mm.
disappointed because I
Mm.
expected so much from you. So, ang sa
Mm.
akin lang is, we exercise our maximum. Pero pag dumating dun sa point na yung magagalit ka rin,
Mm.
wala tayong magagawa, sabi ko nga tao lang eh. But the
Mm.
person remained to be one of the closest people to me. Na after he left the company, nag-usap kami. And then after namin mag-usap, we came at a level na
Mm.
nakaintindihan kami dalawa. And he was always coming to me whenever he changed jobs. He asked for my recommendation,
Mm.
'di ba? So I think it's understanding the other person eh. If you want
Mm.
to address anger, don't address the anger behavior itself. Address the
Mm.
person. Kasi if you understand the person who is exhibiting the anger, you will be more
Mm.
in touch with that person, not just the behavior. Mas
Mm.
gusto ko yung ganun eh, buo, hindi lang yung singular incident.
Mm.
I think that's one way that we can understand them better. No? Tapos ano yung question ni ma'am? Ah, yung last question ni
Ang
ma'am,
question niya ito.
when we, respect, respect. Um, I don't see any reason why
I think
malulus yung
oo.
respect. Not
I
unless
think oo.
'di ba, unless yung manner of speaking and if the
The
delivery was,
words. Yeah,
yeah,
the
or the
words
words
that
that were
you use.
used, yes, and
I
of
have
course,
oo.
Kaya nga
go
firm
ahead.
and fair tayo eh. Firm and fair. You can be
Oo,
firm with your message, but be fair when you speak
yes,
because
so,
by choosing your words, professional words pa
mm,
rin, ma-maintain mo yung respect ng tao eh. But you're able to express your anger, disappointment
mm.
of this
Yes,
person,
oo,
and
oo,
express your desire for him to change without
baka
necessarily without necessarily
yeah,
saying any bad words. Pwede
baka
naman,
hindi
I
maganda yung
pwede mo display yung mukha mo na galit, pero hindi naman, hindi, wag mo i-suppress. Pero yung boses mo pa rin
oo,
gentle
yeah,
and firm, very
mm,
effective siya. Very effective. I've done that many, many times. Kahit sino pa kaharap ko,
oo,
CEO, kapwa
mm,
manager, kapag gentle, firm, and professional ang approach
yeah,
mo, at justified yung pininindigan mo, ano eh, ay, ganun ba? I'm sorry. Let's talk about this. Oh, yun. So, hindi naman ako
yeah,
magagalit kung wala nangyaring masama, di ba? Something like that. There's
mm,
nothing wrong with being angry as long as you're on the right side of the coin, di ba?
mm,
And
yeah,
justified yan. Righteous
I
anger
mm.
is you're just trying to correct. It's a form of indignation in response to perceived
mm,
wrongdoing, injustice, or
yeah,
violation of ethical principles. Normal lang
mm.
yun.
You were saying something, Tina?
Yeah, I wanted to say kasi I'm as operations, I deal with a lot of complaints both from the customer and of course from employees.
Mhm,
And I've noticed several things. The first one is when people get angry when they feel that they've been stepped on. So meaning to
mm,
say sometimes the anger comes from a source of pride or ego.
yeah,
Lalong-lalo na
mm,
with a subordinate and a manager. Usually, the anger comes from, "Ay, hindi ka nakikinig sa akin? Bakit hindi ka nakikinig sa akin? Hindi mo ba ako nirerespeto?" In other words, it's no longer about the policy or the work itself, but more of the yung winning. We want to win. We want to assert
Mm,
our authority that we're still
mm,
higher than the other person. And the other person, by doing certain things, is actually not respecting our position as their boss. For example,
yeah.
nagagalit ka sa isang tao kasi palagi siyang late. And that's true.
Mm,
If takot sila sa'yo, if takot sila mawalan ng trabaho, hindi talaga sila malalate because they can be on time on other occasions, but late
yeah.
with certain companies, right? And sometimes when we get mad, we don't stop by citing lang the policy. We have to go round and round with past infractions. And
Mhm.
sometimes the conversations get personal. Nalalate ka ba? Kasi
Ah, okay.
yung asawa mo ganito, yung anak mo ganito. Wala tayong wala tayong limit kung anong puwede nating idala sa conversation, eh. 'Pag nagsimula,
Hmm,
we can't stop
dire-diretso.
because we want
Mm,
dire-diretso, we want that person small thing become big thing, not because of the infraction, but because of the stuff that comes out from our mouth. And that's why subordinates disrespect leaders. Because even
yes,
if
so
they're the
true.
owner, child of owner, long-time manager or leader, walang problema ang isang subordinate if you stick to the policy. If
Mm,
mali, mali. The problem lies when the manager oversteps the authority and brings
yeah,
everything to the table just
correct,
to
yes.
shame the other person. And
Oo
when a
nga,
person is shamed, there's no coming back from that even if you say sorry. Iba
true.
yung papagalitan mo, iba yung papahiyain mo. And
Mm,
many managers can't tell the difference because you're angry. 'Di ba? You're angry na. That's why I say nga sometimes we forget ourselves pag galit tayo, right? It
mm.
and we think to say that we can always say sorry. It's sabi nga ni ni Miss Iris, how do we tread the line between forgiveness, mercy, and the extermination of the source of harm, which is the person? Sirs, ma'am?
Okay.
How do we thread? Yes.
Ano yun? Pakiulit, ma'am. How do we tread the line between forgiveness, mercy, and extermination of the source of harm? What do you mean by extermination of the source of
I'm
harm?
not I'm not so big on forgiveness though. I really am not. I really am not. Like who says we have to forgive all the time? Right?
Sa
Correct. Yeah,
corporate
oo,
kasi,
true.
sa corporate setting, hindi naman talaga forgiveness yung pinapractice mo doon eh. You're just enforcing the rules, no, the policy.
Yeah.
And if you're practicing compassion and humane
Mm,
management, meron naman tinatawag na ano eh na you just talk to the person and do some pep talk,
mm,
remind, and then
mm,
warn, and then enforce on the progressive discipline. Humane ka
Mm,
nun. Forgiveness is
mm,
of course a spiritual thing, no? But that's another story. Pero malaki ang grace mo pag meron kang forgiveness on the personal level. Pagdating sa corporate, you have to do justice also dun sa management kasi you are hired as an HR manager or HR
mm,
practitioner.
mm,
We're supposed to
mm,
enforce the rules. Okay? Yung
correct.
forgiveness and compassion mo hanggang doon ka lang sa hearing the other side of the story, due process, eh, di ba? And
mm,
yun, forgiveness din kung tutuusin eh. Hearing the other side of the story, empathizing, listening, tapos tawag dito, instead of imposing immediately the progressive discipline, meron ka munang NTE, meron ka munang pagbigay muna ng matagal pa nga yung warning diyan eh, more on pep talk muna eh. That's forgiveness
Mhm.
already. Without necessarily saying you're forgiven. The employee will already feel that. Now, in correcting kasi before you get mad, meron kami tinuturo sa sa training, no, especially when we're conducting leadership and correcting employee have committed infractions. So, una, focus on the issue or the problem, not the person. The
Yeah.
moment that you are looking at the person, nagiging,
Mm.
yeah, nagiging personal na. Ang tanga-tanga mo talaga. Look, the person's infraction is only, nag-short lang siya ng, for example, I'm expecting you to deliver 5, you gave me only 3, you're short by 2. That's quantifiable, okay? Or qualitative.
Mm.
It was supposed to be dark blue. You gave me a light blue. That's not correct. Focus on what's wrong, not that ang tanga-tanga mo, ang bobo mo, hindi mo ba naintindihan? Diba? It becomes, in-express mo na yung galit mo, sumama pa. You're just showing that you have a low EQ. Okay? And also, when we give this corrective feedback, we give it at the right place, at the right time. Timing is
Yeah.
key. Di ba?
Mm.
Pagod na kayo pareho. Gusto nyo na umuwi, tinawag mo yung tao, alikaw, pag-usapan mo natin mali mong ginawa. Ba't mo ginawa yun? So, siyempre, anger plus fatigue, nako, delikadong magkakombinasyon yan. Right place at the right time. Do not correct people in front of others. Do it in private. Then make it very calm and concerned. You're concerned about his performance and of course the interest of the company because of his costly mistakes. Ang laking problema nun sa operation, sa financials ng company. And say it calmly. And finally, make it
Huh?
participative. Pakinggan mo naman yung side niya, bigyan mo siya ng pagkakataong
Uh,
bigay yung kanyang idea how to solve his problem. I believe in this. Let the person solve his problem because he is closest to the problem. Siyang gumawa nun eh. Rather than dictating and telling him what to do, ask the person, what can you do next time so that this will not happen again? The intention there is you want to get the person's sense of involvement and ownership of the solution so that he will be committed to the solution rather than dictating. Kasi pag nagkamali ka sa pagdikta ng anong dapat ginawa, sir, hindi ko naman idea yan. Idea mo yan eh. Bumalik pa tuloy sa'yo. The answers should be coming from him, not you. Let him volunteer the solution or let him tell you the solution because he is the cause of the problem. He is closest to the problem. He knows the solution. That's how we deal with it, and that's how
Do
we
you mm.
yan yun po
Do
sa
you
how
think
to
if
correct
people
matters.
forgave, parang do you think if people don't tolerate more, meaning to say, do you think if people forgave less, there will be more change that will happen? Kasi sometimes, 'di ba, the Filipinos are very tolerant and forgiving eh. So, lalong yung nagbabakasakali, lalong nagko-continue, lalong lumalaki yung issue, hindi kasi tumitigil eh. Kasi akala nila may one more chance. 'Di ba? That's why there's cheaters eh, 'di ba? Unang beses na nahuli, sorry muna, never ko na uulitin. Tapos pangalawa na naman, sorry na naman, tapos di ko na uulitin. Pangatlo na naman. I mean, you can use that for anything, like even sa HR, right? Lates,
mm.
awols, insubordination. Ay, sorry ma'am, next time, never ko nagagawin. Do you think that if we were less tolerant and we actually cut the fat, people around us will behave more? Kasi sometimes, napapansin ko, it's the nice enabling HRs. Mabait na, sobrang pinagbigyan mo na lahat ng tao, ikaw pa yung nadodole. Tapos yung mga ibang HR na sobrang strict na medyo firm na one time, two time, tapos tinatanggal na. Yun pa yung mga may company na masunurin yung mga employees. I mean, we're looking into anger and thinking, do you think sometimes being too nice is detrimental for us to be respected as HRs?
We
'Di ba?
can't be
Kasi
too
yung mga
nice.
too nice, yun yung mga yung mga too nice, yun yung mga hindi napipikon, hindi yung madaling nagagalit eh, 'di ba?
Passive na ang tawag ko ron, ma'am, kasi inaabuso na sila eh. When you're
Minsan
Oh,
kasi,
assertive,
'di ba?
you don't let other people abuse you or the company. Pero firm and
mm.
gentle ka pa rin and fair. You
Mm.
parang don't don't disrespect us. We won't disrespect you. Don't do bad things for the company and the company will not do bad things for you. Parang win-win lang tayo. Now, kapag inaabuso ka na and you're not doing anything, you're still forgiving. Yun na yung abusive para sa akin. Forbearance is better. What is forbearance? Kasi yung forbearance parang may batang makulit. Hindi mo naman, o di kayo, yung pusa mo, ang kulit-kulit, di ba? Kinain yung ulam nyo. Hindi mo naman yun babalatan ng buhay para pagalitan at sausa, di ba? Hindi mo naman, hindi ka ganun eh. Ang gagawin mo lang, you will understand. It's an animal. Kung kids naman, ganun din. Bata yan eh. Kung employees naman na mga kulit, you will come into the position that you will empathize the person. Where is this person coming from? Empathizing is not forgiving. You're trying to understand where he or she is coming from. And from there, malalaman mo na yung appropriate response, appropriate approach do sa person without necessarily saying, okay lang yan. Kasi, ano doon pa rin yung righteous way of handling this person eh. Diplomasya ang tawag natin doon. Di po ba? Pero kung inalaw mo yan, patawarin ko na lang to. Deadmine ko na lang kasi kailangan ko ng tao. Pag umalis to, patay ang operations namin. Yun ang delikado. You're being passive. At yun ang talagang hindi ka respeto pag kung ako yung may-ari. Ba't ginawa mo yan? Kasi mawawalan tayo ng tao pag pinagalitan ko yun, aalis yun. Passivity yun. That is not correct. What do you think, Ma'am Cielo?
Sa akin kasi, my HR remains within my HR group. I don't
Mm.
let them, I mean, kasi Filipino are very personable. And HR work is really confidential work. And we're
Mm.
an integral part of management, bottom line. So, ang sa akin from my HR viewpoint, my team will always be treated as part of management. So given that, they don't hang out, do
Mm.
drinking sessions. No, they
Mm.
don't. I don't allow them.
Mm.
Kasi you wouldn't know what will come
Mm.
out of their mouths pag lasing na yung mga yan, di ba? Tapos
Mm.
magagalit lang ako pag nalaman na nila na may increases na pala, tapos pinag-uusapan pa lang pala.
Mm.
Magagalit ka eh. So, ang sa akin kasi, we have to draw the line. We are
Mm.
existing in a professional, this is a professional atmosphere. We have, masakit mapakinggan na we have levels, but at the end of the day, we have to maintain yung responsibility natin to the company. And we can
Mm.
only do that if we will be able to draw the line. And drawing the line for Filipinos, again, is not really very easy to do. Not
Mm.
unless from the very start, sasabihin mo kung alin yung pwede at hindi pwede.
Mm.
That's how I
It's
did it.
How do you train your subordinates in HR, Ma'am Shelo, to exhibit
Um,
confident anger? Because sometimes,
ah,
especially mga newly graduate, 'di ba? Hindi
oo.
nila alam kung tama ba yung ginagawa nila or dapat ba silang magalit kasi they're a bit young pa. They don't know the rules of the company. They're not sure if they're stepping a line and ayaw din nilang pag-initan sila later on pag mali yung call nila. So when a newly hired HR who's a bit young and inexperienced comes to you, how do you train them to understand their anger and to increase their confidence in exhibiting those angers within the company?
I had one before kasi I'm more into startups na more recently. So the last
Mm.
startup I did was for a BPO na I
Mm.
think we reached about 200 headcount. And then yung
Mm.
HR, when they asked me to do consulting for HR, I built the HR and then I took
Mm.
fresh grads
Mm.
from a local university. So fresh
Mm.
grads, mas madaling turuan kaysa sa medyo may experience na eh. And then that was before the
Mm.
pandemic. Nung kinuha
Mm.
ko sila, syempre mga
Mm.
bagets. So hindi
Mm.
naman binubuli, pero syempre niloloko. Tapos
Mm.
kung ano-anong mga inuutos, blah, blah, blah. So
Mm.
I was really very upfront with them. So
Mm. Mm.
sa management, I had to introduce them. Kailangan kasi may proper introduction on what can
Mm.
and can't be done with them. Kasi
Mm.
pag silent ka dyan, hindi nila
Mm.
alam. So
Mm.
you have to be very clear about
Mm.
your team and what your team will
Mm.
do. And then pagdating
Mm.
sa training nila, I'm actually very hands-on for startups. So
Mm.
sa startups naman, because I was hands-on, I was doing my thing, I'm doing it with them. And then aside from doing it with them, and then I have um, several others coming in, tapos nagro-rotate para at least pag may nag-absent, meron akong pampalit. Doon sa mga non-startups ko, pero Manila-based, what we did with them, I took in experience sa HR. Mga
Mm.
HR, ano na, HR consultants na ang
Mm.
level. So, with the HR consultants, I'm fine really kasi of, you know, um, rotating them. Kasi I really
Mm.
don't want one person to be bored with the things that she's doing. And
Mm.
I really
Mm.
want them to have the competency of a
Mm.
generalist. Para at least
Mm.
pag nag-move on sila, they can choose. So they have
Mm.
competence here, there, blah, blah, blah. So
Mm.
whenever I do these things to my team,
Mm.
I make sure that communication lines within HR is open.
Mm.
Pag hindi kaya, ayaw, papalitan. Pag gusto, go. Pag nahihirapan na, out. Pag gusto ng
Mm.
pandagdag, pag-uusapan. So, communication is really key to
Mm.
the effectivity of
Mm.
how my HR teams has functioned across the years. Madaldal ako eh, so I always make
Mm.
sure that I talk to them.
Mm. Yeah. Sir Alan?
Ako, training ko sa mga staff ko nun, assertiveness talaga. They should know how to be assertive. Kasi pag passive ka yan, lagi mong pinagbibigyan yung mga tao, yung mga internal customers, abusuin ka. Pag masyado ka namang maangas, aggressive naman dating mo nun. When you're passive, you know where is the limitation. You can draw the line. You
Yeah.
can you can say no. At nakasulat yun. Binigay ko sa kanila, ito yung mga bagay na pwede natin pagbigyan, pero ito yung mga hindi pwede. You must learn to
Mhm.
say no. Kasi
Yeah.
pag oo ka ng oo, na hindi mo man kayang ibigay, hindi mo man, you're promising something that you cannot deliver, mapapahiya yung buong department natin. Learn to say no.
Correct.
Tell them that we can only do this, you can only do this up to this point, and
Mm.
or halimbawa, punong-puno na tayo ng ginagawa, tatanggap ka pa rin, tell them na we cannot prioritize this now. We can only accommodate this request after we have finished yung mga nauna namin. And meron
Mm.
kaming schedule. Merong priority A, B, and C. Kapag huli na yan, ilalagay namin, sir, alam mo, nasa priority B po yan. Pero hayaan mo, nakalista na yan, we cannot do that. Hindi pwedeng rush. Di ba, yung mga lumalapit ng mga internal customers, sir, kailangan na po to, rush. Patingin, hindi po ito rush, sir. Rush po pag galing sa president, sa CEO, sa top level. Kung sa department level, priority B lang po ito, sir.
Mm.
And may nauna naman nasa priority B, schedule lang natin to. They should learn to say no. Otherwise, patay tayo dyan. Masusunog tayong lahat. Kasi you're always saying yes, tapos magdi-disappoint sila dahil hindi natin nagawa. And sinong kawawa? Kami rin. Kaya
Mm.
assertiveness training talaga is very important sa mga HR.
Yeah. So for me
Yep.
naman, I'm very observant with what's going on. Kasi I don't like people to experience failure after the fact. So whenever I see something that they need to, yung kunyari, they react in a way that I think is not appropriate to the situation. Dapat magalit tapos hindi nagagalit. On the spot, I'll actually call that person and talk to that person and say, so ask them questions about the situation, find out more
Mm.
information just in case I miss something. And then I would actually tell the person, alam mo, dapat nagalit ka sa occasion na yon. Kasi hindi tama yung ginawa ng tao na yon sa'yo. So I have to teach them how to be angry. On the
Oh,
spot. It
no.
kasi to give them the strength na somebody else is on the lookout as well, who observe the situation, observe the reaction, and then I'm telling them you should be angry at that point in time because of bakit ganito ganito ganyan. So when I
Mm.
the boss tell them these things, they feel very much supported and they feel
Mm.
justified. They don't go home and they say, dapat ba ako nagalit sa time na yon? Tama ba yung ginawa ko? Kasi I don't really feel good about what happened.
Mm.
I feel na napahiya ko or mali yung call ko, pero I'd have nobody to talk to. So, when
Mm.
after the occurrence, as soon as I find out, I call that person. And then you feel that
Okay.
relief ng tao na yon,
Mm.
na they feel na may taong nakakita at may nagsusuporta at kung kailangan magalit, it makes them feel that it's okay to get angry because in the Philippines, tama nga si Iris and si Ma'am Shelo, it can be sometimes shameful to be angry at the wrong things. So when we tell
Mm.
them that it's fine to be angry, then they get confident. Then they
Mm.
learn how to get angry on justified moments na hindi sila naaapakan ng ibang tao. But it's a process. It has to be active. Kasi if 1 month later, 2 months later, pag-resign na sa'yo ng tao kasi feeling niya hindi mo nakikita, it's a bit too late. And it's
Mm.
also really hard for you to react pag 1 week na nakalipas, lalong-lalo na with the other person. Because
Yeah.
Filipinos don't want to defend themselves. Lalo na when they feel that that person is higher in terms of authority and stature. That's the reason why
Mm.
minsan bastos na yung client, pero yung security guard nagso-sorry pa. 'Di ba?
Mm.
Minsan may gano'n, eh, right? Na minsan talaga hindi na tama yung ginagawa ng ibang tao, pero
Yeah.
dahil we're taught to bow down to those higher
Mm.
than us and
Yeah.
wealthier than us, then people get away with it, right? And then hindi
Yeah.
natin alam, pag-uwi ng tao, crush na pala yung ego niya. When it
Oo.
could have
Oo nga
been
naman.
taken care of at the earlier. Kasi alam mo, you know, I think that's what HR managers and line managers should do, is we manage the stress level of our staff. But
Correct.
we're too
Yeah.
busy. We're too busy
We have to
to
find
manage.
time.
We're too busy to manage the staff and it accumulates until nag-resign na yung staff na yun kasi sobra na. Hindi naman madali
Yeah.
mag-resign ng Filipino, I think eh. I really don't think
Yeah.
so. I don't think that many actually complain and blow up. It usually comes after days, weeks of people not paying attention to them. And that's a time when, tayo na ba, management only comes in pag problema na, pag nadole na, pag
Mm.
nag-resign na. Doon lang natin tatanungin anong nangyari. Isn't it a bit too late? Right?
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah. But that's not how it should be. 'Di ba?
mm,
Kaya nga may meetings, merong group sessions para at least you
yeah.
are on board all the time. Kasi I don't see yung effectivity mo as an HR if you will be caught unaware.
Mm,
I'm not really, hindi ako sampalataya sa ganun. Dapat alam mo.
mm.
Kasi nung
Maraming,
nasa,
oh.
lalo na kung marami ka namang HR and then you do
Mm,
meetings lagi.
mm,
Of course, they
mm,
know which ones you will highlight eh. Kasi nakalagay naman kung alin ang i-discuss sa'yo eh, di ba? Kasama dun
mm,
will be reports on what was received from Dole kung meron man o hindi.
mm,
Yeah. And I
mm,
understand also talaga yung fatigue from HR. Fatigue from HR kasi dumarating yung point that they don't want to be angry anymore. Ano na lang sila. Ay, alam mo yung sinabi ni Sir Alan kanina, yung hindi na lang sila kumikibo. Kasi
Passive.
dead ma. Dead matology ang tawag ko dyan.
Dermatology.
Oo, di ba? They just don't
Grabe.
react anymore. And then parang sasabihin nila
mm,
sa akin, Mamsi, sawang-sawa na ako, Mamsi. Sabi ko, oh, ano gusto niyo? Lipat tayo ng ibang site. Lipatan tayo ng site ngayon. Or minsan sasabihin ko sa kanila, oh, ayaw mo na ng comp and ben, lipat ka dito. It's really very difficult for HR. Akala nila madali.
mm,
Akala nila
mm,
madali. Pero actually, the work is really difficult as well. Plus, yung
mm,
problema nila, problema natin. Di ba nila
mm,
alam yun? Problema lang
mm,
nila, sarili nila. Ang problema natin is the whole 1,000 or 3,000
mm,
people
mm,
reporting to us. Ano, di ba?
mm, mm,
I think yung
mm,
lack of appreciation lang for that, I think kailangan talaga HR will also be given that appreciation day
mm.
para at least
Well,
naman.
mm.
Mm.
Well, we're almost at the end of our show. Sobrang nag-overtime
Oh,
tayo, but I think this is a very relevant topic para ma-wash away natin ng negative vibes natin for the coming new year. Any last
Yeah.
words first for Miss Shelo, then Sir Alan, and then I'll end the show.
Last words.
Mm,
I mean, anger is a natural thing. It's not a disease. It's
mm,
something that can be controlled. So all you really
mm,
have to do is to understand
mm,
why and to be able
mm,
to redirect yourself to something more positive or more productive. It can be
mm,
done, and I believe it.
mm.
So, yun lang po. Thank you.
Sir
Yun.
Alan?
Ako naman, misplaced anger, tsaka yung uncontrolled anger, that's bad. Kasi you're adding up to the negativities already of this planet Earth. Diba?
Yeah.
Nagigero na
Mm-mm.
yung mga bansa eh. Huwag natin dagdagan. If we can practice tolerance and forbearance, if we can
Mm-hmm.
practice diplomacy and a lot of compassion and empathy, maiibsan eh, mababawasan if you are going to practice um, these techniques. And one way to do that, very important, is you practice self-awareness, mindfulness. The moment na
Correct.
nakikita mo
Yeah.
yung sarili mo, nagsisimula ka ng kumukulong dugo, you start
Mm-hmm.
talking to yourself internally. Talk to yourself silently ha. Baka may, oo, nagagalit ka na, Alan, nagagalit. Talk to yourself silently, and that is the key to self-regulation. And alam naman natin na kapag you're able to control your reaction, you're not just playing proactive role of a leader, but it's beneficial for yourself eh. The moment na na-control mo
Mm-hmm.
yung galit mo, makokontrol mo yung words na lalabas sa'yo. Tapos hindi lalabas si cortisol, eh. Nang lalabas yung yung mindfulness mo, yung mental clarity because of the dopamine, yung calmness mo, makakapag-isip ka ng tama. That is why hindi ako sa against doon sa expression of anger, no, kasi sabi ko nga may justified anger eh. But if you can
Mm-hmm.
control it talaga by doing some positive affirmation and self-talk, you'll be able to have mental clarity most of the time and be able to solve the problem without necessarily allowing a lot of cortisol in your system. Pag nagawa
Mm-hmm.
mo yun, magiging habit mo yun, magiging addict ka sa dopamine pag nandoon ka sa adversity, makokontrol mo yung mga bagay-bagay. You'll be able to have a good relationship management, and you're always checking on your impact on others naturally dahil na-control mo yung sarili mo. Starts with self-awareness, a lot of mindfulness and self-clarity.
Mm.
Yun lang po.
Okay. I think people forget if when you are an HR manager, you have to understand that anger should not be a reaction to a problem. Because when you express your anger uncontrollably, sometimes it shows then that you have lost control of the situation, right? Because people come to us for guidance. We are the spine of the company. We are the authorized representative of the owner. So I think it's very important for us to remember that people look up to us and seek us for guidance. So when we get mad, make sure that the anger counts and the offense is justified for you to get angry and to lose your cool. Because if you're just gonna get angry because nakalimutan ng basurero na labas yung basura, as equal to you're gonna get angry kasi nahuli mo na yung PA mo nagnakaw sa'yo ng few 100,000 pesos. If you express anger similarly, regardless of the offense, then your anger doesn't have use anymore. I think anger is a very valuable tool for any person to use, but sparingly. Kasi if you keep on using it every day, every hour, every week, every month, that anger loses its authority. That's the reason why so many people, minsan nga, galit lagi yung HR pero yung tao pasaway pa din. It's because we are angry all the time. And people don't know if that anger is will cause you to Like, o sige, iinumin lang niya, tutulugan lang niya, and then okay na ulit the next day. Or, to terminate mo sila following due process. People cannot see if people cannot read you, if you have no rules for your anger, and you use that anger indiscriminately and to everybody at every point in time when you are unhappy, then don't be surprised when people don't respect you. Use anger sparingly. It is a tool for you to usually get what you want, to make sure people follow you at the most highest of offense. Meaning to say, pag malapit mo nang tanggalin kung sobra na, then labasin mo yung anger mo. But before that, you can always talk to a person in a very calm and polite manner and follow due process as what Michelle has said. Bakit ka magagalit pag lagi siyang late? Pati hindi mo na lang bigyan mo ng notice to explain? And then incident report, highlighting ano yung offense ng tao. Bakit ka napipikon? Hindi naman ikaw yung inapakan hindi ba? Tapos, the next time ginawa, bigyan mo uli ng notice to explain. And then explain mo sa kanya, the third time na gagawin niya, isususpend na siya. Third time niyang gawin, isuspend mo following due process. Fourth time, tanggalin mo. Pag ginawa mo yan, without you expressing your anger, maybe even with a smile, trust me, 1,000% wala nang malalate sa company mo. Wala nang malalate. Kasi tinanggal mo yung taong laging nalalate, di ba? And you don't even have to get angry. Right? And even if dinole ka ng tao, hindi ka mapipikon, pupunta ka sa dole. You just explain ano nangyari. Position paper naman does not need anger to be more powerful Documentation is the most powerful thing of all. I think the problem with us is we bark so much. We bark so much, but our bark mean nothing. Like we're like little Pomeranians and Chihuahuas. We bark, 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 bark. Hindi naman nangangagat. I think it's better if you bark once or twice and people follow you. That is the true sign of authority and power. You don't have to bully people around to follow you. All you have to do is mean what you say and do what you say. And if people beg for forgiveness, still fire them anyway. When after you follow due process kasi talagang sinabihan mo na. And trust me, when you follow this type of discipline in anger, you don't need to be angry all the time for people to follow you. You just have to say something and mean it. And then if people don't follow you, cut them out of your life by terminating them. If your family members don't respect you, you have the choice to leave them. Who says na kailangan mong suportahan ng kapatid mo kung lagi kang pinipikon? And sobra na, bastos na, right? Who says you don't have to leave your spouse if they don't, you don't have to tell them all the time for many years. All you have to do is tell them once or twice, then cut them off. Ma'am, sobra ka naman. Mawawalan tayo ng asawa kung ganun. Eh, if you tolerate them, mawawalan ka pa rin ng asawa. And not only will you lose your spouse, you will lose yourself. Right? Make sure you make your anger count. They are a tool. It is not a normal reaction that you use every time to make everyone follow you. You don't need to exhibit anger all the time for people to follow you. All you have to do is say something sweetly, then follow through with it. Then people will respect you even more, right? And if your boss is a person that doesn't follow that, don't be mad at the boss. Bakit ka pikon? Sinong pikon siya talo, di ba? Why don't you actually be a better boss when you come into position? Sige nga. Kasi ang lakas nating humirit sa iba. Pag tayo naman nasa posisyon, tayo din, ganun din tayo. Anong use nun? Be the person you tell your boss he should be. So that one day people will be blessed when they are under us. And make sure all the time, try to control your anger because it should be used appropriately. Should be used appropriately, not all the time, right? And so that if you operate hindi ka naman pumasok para magalit, 'di ba? Kaya kung pumapasok ka na palaging galit, pag-isipan mo. Baka yung environment mo ang problema, correct? Pero paglipat mo ng trabaho, ganun uli, baka hindi na problema yung environment. Baka ikaw na talagang problema, right? So work on yourself too. Because it's not always the other person's fault on why you are angry. Sometimes you are just an angry person who really needs to solve his or her anger issues because it's not beneficial to all. And kung lagi kang galit and you cannot manage your anger, wag masyadong maging HR, baka change of career na lang. Kasi ang hirap din
Mm.
talaga 'pag yung HR manager laging galit, eh, 'di ba? Ano na naman tayo today galit na naman ba si Ma'am Tina? Today good trip ba si Ma'am. If you're in that position, try not to have subordinates. You can just be an agent and manage just yourself. And with that, thank you so much for watching, everyone, for another episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay at Iba pa. Thank you so much, Miss Shelo, for talking about understanding anger and reframing your thinking. How to contact you, Miss Shelo, for those who want to approach you. Ma'am Shelo?
I'm on LinkedIn, Cielo Marte Presas. Just contact me there. Always online every day.
Ayan. Yan talaga tayo eh. Also open for consultancy just in case. What type of consultancy do you do, Ma'am Shelo?
I do startups and I do also RPO.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
All right. And with that, thank
Okay.
you so much for everyone. Thank you for staying with us up until this time. Have a good Sunday and see you next week. Thank you,
Bye, Ma'am
everyone.
Shelo. Thank you.
Bye, Alan. Thank
Bye,
you.
Mentor
Thanks,
Tina.
Tina.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Sa audience natin, sila Irene.